Hey!
This is JJ and Alex.
I made a name for myself. I told you I won't be denied.
As you wrap up your day, it's time to get your fix of the teams you live for and the sports you love. This is JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome on in, everybody. Happy Friday to you. JJ and Alex, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. Appreciate ya. That made it sound like I was signing off. Hey, appreciate ya. Have
Isn't
a good
it the most condescending way to say that?
No. But I really love you. No. This time, for sure. Let me ask you this: Are you supposed to get your kids presents for Valentine's Day?
Well, it's become that. So we give them presents on
What is that?
Christmas. We
That's
give
what I was
them
asking.
presents on their birthday. We give them presents on Easter. We give them presents on Valentine's Day.
My wife's all.
What other President's Day do we have now for these bratty kids?
Yeah. What do you?
They don't deserve it.
Are you getting something for the kids? I was like what? I'm not in love with those kids. I love them. I'm not
I think
in
we
love
lost
with
the
them.
plot on Valentine's
we?
Day, haven't we?
Like we're getting. I know people that get on social media and they are giving presents to their kids on St. Patrick's Day. And they woke up this morning.
We're doing what now?
Billy had his St. Patrick's Day basket. Here's what it looked like.
A
Anyway,
St. Patrick's Day basket.
shout out to Thirst because they have such a great.
Stop it.
No,
You're
all
not
that
serious
stuff.
about that.
I'm telling. Yes.
They're what?
Yeah. That Arbor Day
What is
box
that, like a
fake.
tree or something?
No, it's
A
got to be
seedling?
fake. Come on. No way.
An Arbor Day box?
Anyway, I'm just saying for those who celebrate with their kids, apparently.
I'm sure I offended somebody with my disdain for non-Christmas birthday.
No, birthday's fine. Christmas fine. We get it.
That's
But
what gifts
hey,
are made
hey,
for.
Hallmark, stay out of my relationship with my kids. All right, I'll figure it out. You don't need to tell me what I need to buy.
I mean, it was complicated enough for us
I know,
to
I
screw
don't-
up Valentine's Day. Now we got to screw it up for our kids too.
I already can't afford this family. Okay.
It's a lot of pressure on us,
All right?
guys. Come
So
on.
I'm not doing this. Like we're already set up to fail on this day. And do you celebrate? Like the kids are all at school. I did have the kid who made the toilet. One of my kids made the toilet for his. He made a toilet for his Valentine's basket.
Glad you kept going with the sentence there. You were celebrating that your kid made the toilet.
No.
I mean, how old is he?
No, we do have that going on too in our house. We have kids of all
shouldn't
ages.
be a son that's having trouble making a toilet.
No, but I do. No, he made his Valentine's like they do the boxes.
Yes. So he chose to do a toilet.
Lloyd
for
told
that.
me. Lloyd the other day was making the Valentine's box with his kids. One of my kids made a toilet.
I think that's funny.
It was great. So it works. Put your candy in my toilet, please. Happy pre-Valentine's Day, everybody, if you're out there, for those who celebrate.
Pre-Valentine's Day.
Everything good, JJ? It's a Friday. We're there.
Oh, yeah. Everything's great.
My kids were so mad because they thought we were going to the RV show today. They thought, because they went to the boat show with us, remember?
Your kids want to go to the RV show?
They're insane about
Well, of course they do, right? They want to go fly ties or tie flies.
Tie flies, they did it.
Fly ties.
They want to
What
fly
did I just
ties.
say? We're going to fly ties.
So they
tie flies.
because they want to walk on the RVs and do the same thing that we do, which is I wouldn't have put the couch over there. Right? There they go. I would have. Yeah, this one, Dad, this is the one I'll take. Oh, just $1 million? Fine. So they were upset about that. They were like, aren't we going to the RV show today? I go, no, that was yesterday. They're like, what? What are you getting me for Valentine's Day then? So, no, we're not doing any of that. Yes, I don't know if you know this, but the Jazz have been in the news for the wrong reasons. And I don't know how, but we continue to beat this thing over the head. And last night, it was like just after we left the RV show, by the way, that the poo hit the fan.
Jeez, yeah, it came down.
It was. Here's why you should love being a Jazz fan and in this market. And this isn't temporary, by the way. This isn't like, he's a newish owner of an NBA franchise, and so he's still kind of getting his feet under him. Ryan Smith knows exactly what he's doing. That's where we're going to start things off here. Throw the kudos to the owner of the Utah Jazz for fighting back against the man. And that's where we're going to kick things off here on our Friday. It's the cut, top of the program. Let's do it.
It's time for the biggest story of the day. This is what made the cut with JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, so Ryan Smith goes on Twitter and throws a little bit back at the league for going after the Jazz. The Pacers got it too, but you know what? No one really talked about the Pacers situation. You know what I mean? Like the Pacers.
How come no one's talking about the Washington Wizards?
The Washington Wizards. I don't know why they're not getting fined. Are they just like they're old school bad? Like they're
so irrelevant that they're not even paying attention to their tank because they've been tanking for 30 years.
Well, I mean, like we've seen this. We've seen examples of this, and here's the real problem. And I want. The thing is, we convinced ourselves, JJ, finally. We convinced ourselves to be on board with what was going on here because we hated it from the get-go. By the way, we've all complained about tanking in the NBA. And the reason that it came around now and that we are like we've bought into whatever this process looks like because it just in the last 2 weeks started to look like there's a glimmer of hope. As soon as that happened, then you get the fine for $500,000 that hits the pocketbook of Ryan Smith and the Utah Jazz because they sat their guys in the fourth quarter. And Ryan Smith had a very, very good point, which was we got fined for winning the game. That makes sense. And that's the exact quote, right? We got fined for winning the game, by the way. That makes sense. It doesn't because, I mean, these are guys that you're trying to evaluate and see. I'm not saying that the Jazz wanted to win or they didn't want to win that game, by the way. The Miami Heat did.
It's not in their best interest.
The Miami Heat weren't tanking. They just played bad basketball that night. Yep. And the Utah Jazz, the young guys came in and beat that Miami team at their place. And then they get fined for it because they sat their starters in the third and fourth quarter. Their big names in the third and fourth quarter. And I'm not sure what the alternative was supposed to be. By the way, now, when you're looking at a guy that you got in and you say, yeah, we took a look and we didn't like what we saw with that knee. And while he can play right now, we want to make sure this guy's good long term because that was found out after he got to Utah or after he got to the Jazz. I don't know when.
They knew about the tumor in his knee before he played.
Right. And so the bottom line was after all that, and I'm not making an excuse for the Jazz. We've hated the tank forever. But we got ourselves around to going, okay, the Jazz, their front office, they're right in step with what other people have done over the years. And people are saying that what the Jazz have done have been. I'm trying to be more open about this, JJ. Is what they did like a new version of what we've seen before? Have we never seen teams sitting guys before? We certainly have seen guys who just have rest next to their name, and you kind of looked and went, all right, appreciate it, thanks. Thanks, but no thanks. It was so... And the egregious part is that we've suddenly gone after the Jazz as the poster children for what not to do in a tank. An organization that has never been one that has been floundering, no end in sight, nothing that they have going for them, despite the fact that they're in a market that is not easy to be able to bring talent to, they have found a way. And part of that was even just hiring Danny Ainge. Like that's an aggressive move to bring a guy in and say, hey, will you kind of unretire yourself and like work for us for a while, please? And I look at all of this thing and I hear stuff like this because we had to play the Kendrick Perkins. ESPN kept it going, right, with the Jazz talk. Perk, as you pointed out, former Jazz man.
Former Jazz man, Kendrick Perkins. Jazz man for a day.
So many have gone through it. And maybe he didn't like how he was treated when he was here. You know, it was like when he was never here.
Imagine what it was like for Russell Westbrook going through it twice.
Maybe he's just, yeah. And here's what Perk said about the newest situation here because he went after it. He's standing up for the game of basketball.
Oh, my gosh.
And by the way, we've all made these complaints over the years. And the NBA's done nothing to fix it. Here's what Perk said about this Jazz fine.
I wish Adam Silver would have fined him $5 million for disrespecting the game of basketball. Like, let's stop being nice about it and throwing out the word tanking. No, it's actually throwing games. You're trying to throw games to lose games. Think about that for a second. In the in one of the best sports in the world, in a competitive sport, you're teaching to try to lose games.
And you were asking yesterday why.
That's what you're trying to do. And why? Like, I totally disagree with whatever front office expert you went talk to or who's writing a blank check. It is not a generational talent in this draft. Do they have some good franchise guys? Yeah. Absolutely. A.J. DeBanza, is he a Victor? Is he a Cooper Flagg? Is he a Braun? Hell no. Is any of those guys capable of doing something or taking it to that level? I think they're good starting points. But going back to Adam Silver, I would have fined their ass more for messing up, because as a competitor, DG, answer this. You mean to tell me you could walk in the locker room after all you've been through to get to the NBA and be okay with going out there and saying, I'm trying to lose a game while you're on the floor?
Never. It's never okay. And you don't want that DNA, that type of DNA spilling into the atmosphere of a losing culture locker room.
In basketball, period.
Okay, in other markets, they might, obviously they don't know the Jazz like we do, right? I don't think anybody who knows this organization thinks to themselves a loser mentality locker room, right? Like,
this whole process is about getting to the point where you're winning, not about losing.
And that's where they want to get. And by the way, aren't they incentivized to try to get better?
They're doing exactly what the system allows them to do. They didn't break any rules.
I just want to know why. First of all, horrible take on that this draft class is not even that good. Like, I don't know what direction he was going with that. Not one expert thinks that. Not one expert sees that.
Kendrick Perkins, you get paid to analyze basketball. How do you not know how good this draft class is?
He named off a bunch of guys that would have been drafted before.
There are probably two players in this draft that may be better than Cooper Flagg based on evaluations right now.
He probably would have gone. Cooper Flagg would have gone behind maybe two or even three of the players in this draft.
And Cooper Flagg's generational, could become a future Hall of Famer.
Great.
That's how good this class is. Talk to anybody who follows and understands the draft. This is the best draft in the last decade, and maybe going back to 2003, the LeBron James, Carmelo Anthony, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh draft.
We did this to ourselves because when this first began, none of us liked the situation that this was. None of us liked. And by the way,
fun. Nobody loves this.
It's never fun. When you look at the bottom of the standings in the NBA, which you've had to look at more closely in the last few years, unfortunately, Jazz fans, you never paid attention. It's not that you didn't ever pay attention to it, but you never looked down there at the teams that were always there. Think about like the Charlotte Hornets. How long in your lifetime have they been anywhere except for in the bottom four of the Eastern Conference?
They weren't even in Charlotte for a period of time.
I know. And so this is one of those things where you look and you go, there are teams who've been doing this every year forever. How many times have the 76ers done this exact thing?
The San Antonio Spurs.
The Spurs have
Where was the outrage last year? Where was the outrage last year? There was plenty of teams doing. The Toronto Raptors did this exact same thing where they sat Scotty Barnes late in games to make sure they lost. 2 years ago, the Dallas Mavericks were fined. They were actually caught and fined by the league for trying to do the same thing. And they ended up getting Derek Lively. They ended up keeping their lottery pick. They got caught manipulating their lineups and holding players out to try to hold on to their draft pick because they had a similar thing where they had a protection on it. This is not new. This is not original. Why are the Jazz getting picked on here? Because of the way they're doing it. Gamblers are pissed. The league is pissed. You want to know why? Because they're in bed with DraftKings and you name them whatever, and ESPN Bet and all these places. This is the worst thing for a gambler, and all of you that bet on games know what you're talking about. Why do gamblers care so much about injury reports?
Yeah,
why do injury reports exist in the first place? Mm-hmm. Have you ever asked yourself, why do we have injury reports in professional sports?
It's 100% because of that, and that's a reason why now collegiate teams are starting to do the same thing. Conferences in college are starting to put this out there. Hey, you've got to be upfront about these injuries.
If you say Larry Markkanen and Jaren Jackson Jr. and Keontae George are playing tonight, bettors are going to make bets on that information. And when the game's halfway through and all of a sudden those players aren't playing anymore, and somebody bet the over on that player's point total that game, they're going to be angry. And what happens when the gamblers are angry? The betting companies are angry. And what happens if the betting companies are angry? They're coming at the league. They're coming at Adam Silver. Hey, this is messing with our business.
Right.
We're paying you a lot of money. You need to do something about this. So who's running the show right now? Who's running ESPN? Who's running the NBA?
I mean,
who? It's just like in college football. Who's in charge in college football? Who's the commissioner of college football?
yeah, the
It's
networks.
ESPN and Fox.
Yeah, it's the networks. Mm-hmm.
Don't for a second fool you about that. We're all
Right.
talking about we need Nick Saban to be the commissioner of college football. Okay, until he's writing the checks of ESPN and Fox, he ain't nobody. Same thing here. The reason the Jazz just got punished is because the betting companies are mad, and the league has to protect that asset
Right.
and those relationships.
Well,
And they're trying to discourage it now, and now it's blowing up because everyone's talking about it. And Perk, he's just piggybacking on the rage bait here and taking it to another level with the $5 million fine. It's hard to listen to him because he doesn't know what he's talking about.
It's
He didn't
hard
know
to-
what he's talking about with the draft. He doesn't know what he's talking about with tanking, and you're ignoring all this tanking that's been going on for 40 years. This system has been broken for 4 decades.
it's hard to watch because I think what's hard for Jazz fans to wrap their brain around, they're like, no, we've never been that franchise. Fans are like, that. No. The reason they're mad is because it's like they've never been this franchise. They've had to figure these things out, and unfortunately, the league has set it up this way. And by the way, why hasn't the league made changes then? Why doesn't the
They
league?
have.
I know, but I'm saying like what?
The new weighted stuff that actually killed the Jazz in this last lottery.
Right.
There's teams stuck in perpetual tank because of the new weighted system, where a team like the Dallas Mavericks, who was in the NBA Finals a year ago, can win a lottery the next year. Why are the Spurs winning it every time they're in it? Weighted odds. So you no longer get a 25% chance of winning the lottery if you're bottom 4. You get a small percentage, and that's exactly how it played out. So the Jazz had to do it again. These teams are going back to the well every year because they're not getting what they're looking for.
Right.
They're not getting that help. All these teams are trying to build winning rosters, but there's only so many star players in the league, and there's only so many star players coming into the league. And some of those players that we think are great end up being busts, and that sets back these teams. It's unlike any other sport where one player can change everything. Not even in the NFL. Look at all the great players that are in the NFL.
Well, and
Is
then
there
look at all the
one
teams.
player in the NFL that was worth tanking for? Actually, no, that doesn't happen in the NFL because that's not how it works. Major League Baseball? NHL? Does anyone tank? Macklin Celebrini was one of the. Now that we're in NHL market,
Yeah.
Did anybody tank for Macklin Celebrini? Obviously, a big time star. We knew he was generation. Connor Bedard. The Blackhawks just happened to stink that bad, and there's a lottery in the NHL,
Right.
which the Mammoth just won with incredibly difficult odds.
So here are, and it's not when they won it, they got to the fourth
But
pick.
they could only move up 10 spots
Right.
because there's
Of the way the
protections in
system
place,
is. Yes.
which is something the NBA should look at.
So Will Hardy, it's been so tough to be in his spot. Like he's trying to develop as a head coach, and he's doing what he can to try to figure out how to develop these young men, and then trying to find the best lineup. And the best lineup right now for the Jazz doesn't mean the one that's going to get them wins every night. The best lineup is you're trying out guys for the future, JJ. You're trying guys out like these.
I love what he's doing.
Kyle
It's
Filipowski,
perfect.
is he going to be on this team in 2 years? Right now, they're trying to figure out if that's the case.
Right.
Is Bryce Sensabaugh? He's in that kind of camp too, right? Where you go,
Isaiah Collier.
Are
these guys part of our rotation when we're good?
And it's kind of an intense tryout right now. And all these guys have made exceptional inroads. You know why? Because of the minutes they're able to play. And it sounds like, if you're listening to this outside of this market, it just sounds like excuse making. But here's the thing. We hated the tank for so long, and we had to be convinced. And last year was an absolute. It was crap at the end of the. It just felt.
It was the worst.
Don't you remember sitting in the JCWs there in South Jordan?
I'll never forget it.
And we're just sitting there, and we watched, and we're going through this, and Ben and Jake are sitting there with us as well, and we're going. And as soon as, I think, who was it that pulled? It was when the 76ers were pulled at a certain spot, and Ben was like, "Oh no, they're gonna get the which pick did they end up with?
third. When the Sixers jumped
When the
up to
Sixers
3,
got
we're
to
like,
3,
oh no,
it's over.
And the Mavericks had already been. We already knew they were in the top. So you had two teams that were way down had moved up, you're like, oh no.
Every TV in that place was turned on, and it just went, like it just got silent, and it got bad because it was already hard to watch. It's hard to watch a team that has been so good at winning lose at the rate that they were, with the hope that this can get better at some point. And they do want it to get better at some point. Did we end up having the
The Spurs moved up too, if you remember.
Did I erase the Will Hardy thing? Oh, okay. All right.
The top 3 teams in the lottery last year all jumped up from way down in the odds.
By the way, after all was said and done, and I've heard rumors of why Wendy has kind of gone back and made the apology tour happen. It's because some of the relationships that he may have had here in town
he ticked some people off.
Might have gotten a little sticky overnight.
Don't bite the hand that feeds you, buddy.
So Brian Windhorst goes on, and here's what he said about the Jazz fine, and here's what he said about just kind of the whole thing going forward here.
So first off, I'm going to say the fine is insignificant. I'm not saying that it doesn't affect Ryan Smith to pay $500,000. I'm just saying it's insignificant. The second thing I'm going to say is I have an announcement to make. And I need you all to hold me accountable to this announcement for the next 3 months, because it's going to get tough. It's going to be challenging. I'm giving the Tankers a pass. I'm giving them a pass. I could sit here and go chapter and verse of some of the stuff that I'm seeing in Utah, some of the stuff I'm seeing in Washington, in Sacramento, in Indiana. But you know what? I can't blame them, Shay, because they are incentivized to do this. And so, therefore, I am determining that these are good people who are good at their jobs, having to make bad decisions because they're incentivized to do so. We see this across humankind. People are sometimes incentivized to do things that are not, for the greater good. They're incentivized to do this. The way that everything is set up, you are incentivized to lose. And so I can say what the Jazz are doing, and I can say I disagree with it, but I can't look at you and say that if I was Ryan Smith or I was Will Hardy or I was Austin Ainge, that I wouldn't do it. And so really what Adam Silver is trying to do here is he's trying to hold his finger in the dam, because he's now we're in mid-February, and he's looking at the landscape, and he realizes that there's about to be a disaster when this thing breaks, because we're going to have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 teams not trying to win. And he's trying with this to send a message over the bow, please stop, otherwise we're going to get more serious. But they have to change the fundamental issues. Without changing the incentive, you will not change the behavior. You know this with a toddler, and it's true even in billion-dollar businesses.
I do love that he waxed philosophical. This is part of the human condition. It's like, what are we doing here? So his backpedal included
good people have to do bad things.
Yeah, exactly. His backpedal included, we're all human. Right? We all start to look at each other and go, Wendy, what are you doing? You pissed off all these people that, number one, you already knew were good people.
Well,
and by the way,
mistake he made, and others have made in the media, is they're picking on one team when they need to be picking on everybody. They actually need to be picking at Adam Silver in the league itself.
Oh, yeah.
But nobody in that business wants to do that. So you start everybody, all of us in this business understand, and I'll give him credit for pointing this out. We all understand this is bad and this sucks and it's a problem. This is a bad thing for the NBA. The NBA has a massive problem here.
Right.
I don't know what the solution is, but it's a massive problem, and it's impacting the quality of the league and the integrity of the game as a whole. The Utah Jazz themselves are not doing anything to the integrity of the game. This is a league-wide problem.
Sure.
And that's why his comments, Bobby Marks, and I felt, and a lot of us felt, were out of line, because it's out of touch with what's actually really going on, which is the bigger problem.
Well, think about...
And to pick on one franchise and not the others felt strange.
Do you remember, think of the Donald Sterling days of the Clippers. I mean, these are dark days for the NBA, for ownership. That was a guy, when you talk about the integrity of the game, that was a guy who built rosters who he didn't care if they lost because...
He was trying to make money.
He wasn't tanking. He was just losing because he was incentivized to just not put a lot of money and thought into it, because the return was actually higher for being bad, and you just didn't have to pay for it.
He wanted payroll to be as low as possible because that put more money in his pocket.
Now, turned out he was a garbage human being.
That too.
And so we got to a new version of what losing looked like in the NBA, because the only way that, and especially for a team like Utah, the only way you can build a championship roster, it's limited. It's limited. And
Free agency doesn't even work anymore.
It doesn't work anymore. It doesn't even exist really anymore in the NBA. And so now you start to look at big-time trades and the draft. That's all you have.
Which is what the Jazz are doing right now.
And they've done both of those things. And by the way, this chess match that they've been playing.
So we're picking on the Jazz?
That's the thing. Think about it. You know,
They've done. This is a master class in rebuilding and tanking. Sorry.
We don't know yet. I mean, the reality is you got to get kind of lucky. Ask Sam Presti, who's pissed, by the way, at the Jazz. But this is a guy who got extremely lucky in some of these drafts.
We haven't even talked about the nasty stuff that he's doing behind the scenes.
Did you see all the memes of Karen Presti? Everybody photoshopping the Draper mom hair on it. Like, I want to talk to the manager, and because that's what it feels like. It's just these other GMs who are watching, and right now, and it's been 2 seconds that the Oklahoma City Thunder have been the haves. They've been the have-nots before too. And
how do you think they built this championship roster?
Of course, they had
Nobody
to go through
takes
some
better
moments.
than them 5 years ago.
So I don't know why these GMs now are suddenly sitting on this thing. Here, I wanted to get to Will Hardy talking about resting Lauri Markkanen, and he's in a bad spot because I say a bad spot because it's a lose-lose for him, because other people don't look and say, people in other markets don't even know who Kyle Filipowski is necessarily on this Utah Jazz team. They don't know that Bryce Sensabaugh is a guy that if they could develop him and he could turn things around and be, I mean, maybe he's a superstar.
Doesn't Cody Williams need developmental minutes right now?
100%. But here's what Will Hardy said about resting Lauri Markkanen the other night.
I sat Lowry because he was on a minutes restriction. So if our medical team puts a minutes restriction on Lowry, I'll try to keep Lowry healthy.
They're just going along with what the rules are. I mean, what the rules are that they've been given to them. And look, is there some stuff behind the scenes where you go, Lauri Markkanen hasn't played 70 games ever in his career, by the way, in a season?
But now, is the league going to start questioning that and finding teams for that? We're going to start finding teams for load management? Now we're crossing over into another topic.
Which everybody already hates.
And another big problem in the league.
Everybody already hates, right? Nobody's liked it. And it all starts with, hey, awesome, my kid and I showed up at this game. It's $240 to sit 31 rows up in the stadium, and Lauri Markkanen's not playing. Or, remember when that kid came to Miami from Argentina, and he's like, and he wanted to see
Jimmy Butler?
He wanted to see Jimmy Butler, and he's like, I flew up from Buenos Aires for this just to watch Jimmy Butler sit. Or he was holding it up, and he's like, I came to see Jimmy Butler, and he wasn't there. Why? Because rest. Right?
Yeah.
And that's what makes people angry. That's what makes people upset about how this thing goes.
Which has hurt the league.
Yeah. All right. We'll take a break. When we come back, we've got more around the corner. We've got lots to jump into on a Friday. We hope you're enjoying your Friday, by the way. The Big Ten detailing their 2014 college football playoff. And it's kind of interesting, but it's the 16 versus 24. It's the SEC versus the Big Ten. The two biggest conferences by far in college football, the most powerful by far in college football, are going back and forth about what this looks like. We'll weigh in on whether or not the 24-team model works versus the 16-team model. I just don't even know if we've seen the 12-team model work all the way yet. But Stay right here. More to go. 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Accessing. When TV and radio collide.
Love it.
Wow. This is what you get. You're listening to JJ and Alex.
Don't touch that dial.
On 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, welcome back, everybody. JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Thanks for being with us on the program. What would a 24-team college football playoff look like? I've said it on this program before. A 24-team college football bracket, I think I threw it out there. Some people went after me when I said, I think more football and more playoff games is better. It's just better football. And they were like, yeah, right. There's bad matchups even in the 12-team. I get that there are.
Yeah. Not all 12 teams probably should have been there.
Just think about it from the perspective of college football teams who have a shot to make a run. At any given point, right, where you look at it and you go, okay, can this team make a run? I've got the conference standings in front of me from last season. Do you know who the 5th place team was in the Big 12? Just off the top of your head. And just think about, of all the teams that were there, the 5th place team in the Big 12 last season.
Who was it?
Arizona.
Okay. Good team.
Yeah.
Good season.
End of the year, 9-4. Houston was the 4th place team. Utah,
Yes.
3rd place. BYU, 2nd, of course, and then Texas Tech won the league. Both of those teams went 12-2. Both of them went 8-1 in conference. And during the regular season conference play. And I look at it, and I bring that up because Texas Tech, BYU, Utah, Houston, and Arizona would have been in to a 2014 playoff according to the document that the Big Ten put out.
Interesting.
Yes. Now, can you name for me who the number 6 team was in the Big Ten?
USC?
No, USC was
Lower than that.
USC was your 5th place team.
Oh, okay. Washington?
The Iowa Hawkeyes would have been the 6th place team in the Big Ten, and 6 teams, according to this document, thrown out there by the Big 12, or the Big Ten rather, would have been in. Indiana, Ohio State, Oregon, Michigan, USC, Iowa. Now, if you go to the SEC, any guesses on how many? So you had 5, according to this document that the Big 12 put out, or the Big 10 put out. Here's the list. 5 Big 12 teams would have gotten in. 6 Big 10 teams would have gotten in. 7 SEC teams would have gotten in. Any guesses on who was in 7th place in the SEC?
I'd go Vanderbilt.
It is. They are the 7th place team right there.
There were 7 teams in the SEC that won 10 or more games.
Crazy. So then you've got in the SEC in the playoff: Georgia, Alabama, Ole Miss, Texas A&M, Texas, Oklahoma, Vanderbilt. I mean, why wouldn't the SEC drool over this possibility? Now, part of it is because they think they should have 7 teams in on a 16 team. Well, frankly, probably on a 12.
Well, they got 5 in this year,
right?
With the way things are.
How'd it go?
They had Ole Miss, Georgia, Texas A&M,
Yeah.
Alabama,
How'd it go?
and Oklahoma. Not good.
Ole Miss was the only team surviving even to the semifinals, and they lost there too. 3 years in a row, the Big Ten's won the national championship. Indiana, Ohio State, and Michigan. Those are your last 3 winners. And according to this, when they put this thing out there, they said it would consist of the 23 best teams and 1 spot for a group of 6. Now, it also has contingencies because guess what? In this, according to this year, you would have had 8 teams who received the byes. This is their setup. 8 teams would receive byes, okay, the top 8. 8 first-round games on campus, an extra week of home games with 8 second-round games played also on campus. I'm loving that so far because we already said, and you remember when, do you remember when Lane, no, it wasn't Lane Kiffin, it was Dan Lanning from Oregon goes, they were like, what do you think about this game? You're playing in Miami, blah, blah, blah. Or not in Miami, when they were playing Texas Tech, and I can't remember what bowl it was that they matched up against one another, but he goes, I think we should actually be playing on Texas Tech's campus. They had a better season than we did overall, and I think that the home teams should, you get a bye, but you should host a game on campus. That'd be awesome. So all the top teams would be rewarded with playoff games, and they would also be rewarded with games at home.
Yeah, I'm looking at a Big Ten 24 team bracket. Based on this year's results.
So you'd have 7 SEC teams.
Do you want me to
6
read the
Big
key
Ten
matchups
teams.
locally?
5 Big 12. Now, only 3 ACC teams. Funny enough, one of them got to the NCAA.
It wasn't a good year for the ACC. That's all they would have deserved.
But they had a champion, or they had a team in the finals.
Right.
Notre Dame would have been in, and the 2 group of 6 teams would have also been in. So so roll out what these matchups would actually look like. Good. That's the breakdown of the field of per.
You want me to do the buys? You want me to focus on the of local interest?
I want to do the local interest ones.
Okay. Would you watch a BYU versus Houston 12 versus 21 game in the first round? BYU hosting.
I mean, it's a playoff game. You're hosting it at home. You take it, especially.
Those are the kind of matchups you're looking at in the first round.
Okay.
So there'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 first round matchups, and it would go from 9 through 24.
Who would Utah have played in the first round?
Michigan.
And what's their what? Oh, that is awesome. Oh my gosh.
Utah would host that game.
Think about how
Utah would have been the 15, Michigan the 18.
Think about how amazing that would have been.
Yeah.
Right? Knowing the things that were going to go down afterward.
Yeah, exactly. Can you imagine a first-round playoff game after Kyle Whittingham gets hired as the new head coach of Michigan?
Amazing.
What could have been? What could have been?
He just walks across the field to the other locker rooms to meet his new team. How you guys doing? Okay.
Some other matchups.
Great. But great matchup, by the way.
I'll throw some more out.
Was that one at Utah or at
It would
Michigan?
be at Utah. Utah would be the 15 seed, Michigan the 18. Alabama would be hosting JMU, James Madison.
Okay.
Texas would have been the 13. They would have got Tulane.
I think JMU would have played better against Alabama than they did against Oregon.
USC, Arizona, an old Pac-12 matchup, Pac-10 matchup. That'd be kind of interesting. Okay. Miami and Iowa would have been a 10-23 game. Notre Dame, Georgia Tech would have been an 11-22 game, and Vanderbilt would have been the 14 versus the 19.
See, I think people will mistakenly say, hey, those aren't very good football games. You want those as the college football playoff. You think Houston should have been in a college football playoff this year? I think that we're missing the point, which is those matchups would automatically mean so much more than the Poulan Weed Eater Bowl. Than the LA Bowl. Which one died this week? We didn't even give a proper
the
funeral.
Detroit /
the Motor City Bowl. So we're going to see some of these bowls hopefully dropping like flies because they already don't matter. These games would already matter way more than your second tier bowl games that are out there. Your Holiday Bowl, look, your Alamo Bowl. The Pop-Tarts Bowl, the People's National Championship. Those would mean nothing compared to being. And for all I care, hell, let them be that game. Let the Pop-Tarts Bowl host BYU and who was it in Houston?
Yeah.
Even if it's not a home game, have that be. If you want to keep the stupid bowl games around, fine.
You can work them into the playoff. We were already doing it with the playoff system right now.
So, I mean, I forget too. Like, think about the run that Indiana had this year. They won the. They won the Rose Bowl and the Peach Bowl and the national championship. Who walks away with a Rose Bowl trophy, the Peach Bowl trophy, and then the national championship on top of it? I mean, you have these, and it doesn't make sense either.
Ohio State did it the year before.
Right,
they won 2 bowl games, essentially.
2 premier names, right? Like, you win a Sugar Bowl and a Fiesta Bowl, and then you win the national championship, and you're like, okay, that doesn't make a lot of sense. But I'll play along here. I just don't know. I don't understand what the SEC's argument really is against the 2014 playoff. And I know that you've been a little bit like wary on it. So just real quickly before we get to a break, I just want to understand why the proposed 2014 model. Is it just because it sounds a little bit like a mess because you're just reading off a bunch of teams?
Yeah, I mean, I guess you're just getting to the point where are there 24 teams that can win a national championship? Now, the argument you would have against me saying that is like, well, we have the NCAA tournament in basketball. Do we need 68 teams? Are 68 teams really going to have a chance to win a national championship?
Totally different.
Well, to be honest, there's been teams make the Final Four from that play-in situation in Dayton. So, yes, actually, it has worked out pretty well the way it's set up. So, I'm kind of coming around on this 2014 thing. That's what the FCS does. So, I don't hate it. I would like to start with 16. And I feel like this year especially, I think Notre Dame and BYU both could have made some noise and won a game in a playoff this year and weren't given that opportunity. I think 16 teams would have made a lot of sense this year.
By the way, the SEC agrees with you. Like, the SEC wants the 16. The Big Ten actually agrees with you too. Like, I want to see what 16 does. But their idea is, hey, let's check out 16, but let's not shut the door on 24 either. Because in the 16-team model, the 5+11, whatever that looks like, it would still be SEC and Big Ten heavy. It would be Big Ten and SEC heavy in any conversation that we would put together on this, ever. And so, but I'm telling you, Big 12, people who are in the Big 12 conference, your Utahs and your BYUs here in town, they look and they go, both of those teams would have been in. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And they'd be playing. Utah playing Michigan? I mean, look, BYU gets the short end of the stick from a big-time, opponent standpoint.
Imagine this happening in 2026, Alex. And you have a Utah-Michigan matchup.
And Utah hosting it at Rice Eccles. Like, that's crazy.
Who in the country's not watching that?
I know. Oh, my gosh. Could you imagine Kyle Whittingham in the visiting locker room?
Insane. This is why we watch. This is why college football would be so intriguing.
There are compelling stories across the board.
That would be great.
That could be enjoyed. All right? So this is why I say more football could potentially be better football, right? You could have these matchups. You'll have more opportunities for intriguing storylines and, frankly, more opportunities for upsets.
And I like that the Big Ten is being progressive about this as opposed to the SEC, who is just fighting everything that's new or different.
I'm into it. All right. Let's take a break. We'll come back. We've got more around the corner. We've got a Would You Rather you don't want to miss, so stay right here and hang out with us rest of the Friday. 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Listen, everybody. Real-life hypotheticals to get your brain churning. As JJ and Alex ask, would you rather?
All right, everybody, welcome back. JJ and Alex, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. Hey, our Win Ticket Wednesday next week, featuring something pretty awesome. You ready for this? Oh, boy. Now, I've been hearing tale of this, and our promotions department was like, we got him. We got him. Not like the Bin Laden, we got him, but you know what I'm saying, all right? Ladies and gentlemen, we got him. Isn't that what was said?
Essentially.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him. This next week, 2 tickets to see Post Malone with Jelly Roll, Carter Faith, all at the Rice-Eccles Stadium, big blankety-blank stadium tour, coming July 28th. That's right. Tickets you can win right here all day Wednesday next week to Post Malone, Jelly Roll, Carter Faith, all at Rice-Eccles Stadium this summer. You can go to livenation.com, get those tickets that went on sale. And then you can try to win those. Or if you don't get them, try to win them next week on our Win Ticket Wednesday. So there you go. Probably the biggest event we've done in a long, long time. We do big events, but it's a lot of big names right there. Utah's own, Post Malone. Spanish Fork's own, right? That's when they his house is on a pretty prominent hill, or what it used to be, on a pretty prominent hill down there in St. George.
Yeah.
He built this, like, massive thing and then immediately sold it, like, maybe 2 years later.
Okay.
And kind of wherever you are in St. George, you can always see it. And my kids are always like, hey, I wonder what Posty's doing right now. I'm like, he's not there. Okay. There's 9 Ferraris in the driveway.
Got quite a real estate portfolio at this point.
He's not there. All right. Would you rather, JJ? All right. Would you rather play a home game in a 2014 playoff? And, you know, in BYU's case, hosting Houston, great. Or chalk it up right next to, hey, we got to play in the Sugar Bowl. Like BYU playing Houston at home versus BYU playing Houston in the Sugar Bowl.
At home. I've watched the playoff now for 2 straight years, and the most fun, the best environments in the playoff were the games that were held in home stadiums.
Yeah.
Agree? Is there any doubt about that?
No.
I mean, the bowl. I mean, those are nice bowls. We saw Utah in a Sugar Bowl, so
it means a little bit less now. Obviously, Sugar Bowl.
Yeah,
2010.
We saw
very different.
Utah in Rose Bowls. BYU was in a Cotton Bowl.
Yeah.
There is some tradition and fun stuff with that. But let's be honest, hosting a playoff game in your stadium, where your fans can attend, nothing would top that.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Plus, I just want to see it just absolutely freezing cold into December.
Right. Well, that's your home field advantage. When truly a home field advantage for a team like BYU or Utah would really matter. When you're hosting Alabama in a snowstorm? Yeah.
Alabama in a snowstorm.
Of course, it doesn't snow in Utah anymore, so I guess that's not a thing.
Oh, boy. Come on. One of these years, there'll be a foot on that field, and there's going to be a college football playoff game played.
Not this year.
I can't wait. Okay, we're going to take a break. We're going to come back. When we return, Ben Anderson, one of our Utah Jazz insiders, of course, for KSLSports.com, Jake and Ben host, he's going to jump in and give us his thoughts on the $500,000 fine, all of the back and forth, and the kind of the example that was made of Ryan Smith and the Utah Jazz over the past couple of days, $500,000, what that fine means. Plus, going into the All-Star break, this team, and it's not the halfway point, well past it, but kind of a good time for us to make that break happen and then say, where is this team right now going forward? Stay with us. More to go, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Ladies and gentlemen,
the biggest name. You're locked into JJ and Alex. with the insight and analysis on the teams you can't live without. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, everybody. Welcome back. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Alex Kirry, Jeremiah Jensen. I misquoted it. It's between 18 and 22 million on the cost of a F1 engine. JJ.
That's insane.
Yeah, the total car will cost you about 28 million, and you got to have 2 of them per team, and you have extra engines, a couple at least per team. We were just talking about this because Cadillac is on the F1 grid now, but they don't make the engines. Ferrari makes their engine for them, but yeah, it's a V6 hybrid engine. Turbo hybrid engine, and it costs about $17, $18, $19 million. So there you go.
Wow.
Yeah, transmission's going to cost you $600,000. The front wing, sorry, I misquoted that too. Front wing is $200,000. If you break that thing, if your kid backs the F1 car into the garage door, $250,000 on that back wing. So there you go.
What an expensive sport.
We're just wondering about it. We're just talking about the cost, and it's bonkers.
I know F1 has obviously risen in popularity here in the States, but
Yes.
it's still a little bit under the radar in the mainstream.
Uh-huh.
The money involved in that is insane. Don't even understand it. I can't
They
comprehend
have
it.
2 engines sitting in the
That
trucks.
tells you how important it is.
They have
and
2
how
engines
big it
sitting
is
in the trucks per
internationally.
car. So inside their
Wow.
trucks, they're carrying $200 million of cars and parts and stuff like that. So there you go. And all they have to do is ship it across the world every week. It's no problem. So there you go. All right.
Wow.
Oh man, the tank has become the talk, and it's unfortunate that that the Utah Jazz are having to become the example across the league. Let's kick off the program here and chat with one of our experts, of course, here is going to enlighten us a little bit more. Ben Anderson, Utah Jazz insider for KSLSports.com. The cut starts right now.
It's time for the biggest story of the day. This is what made the cut with JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Ben, I know you're probably sick of it, and I know we certainly are kind of getting there, but the Jazz getting the $500,000 fine, the subsequent tweets that go out from Ryan Smith last night, it was one for the ages to watch on X last night. It was lots of fun, at least for me, to see the back and forth. It was good, I think, for Jazz fans to see their owner standing up. What were your thoughts on that $500,000 fine for the Jazz and the Pacers? And why aren't other teams getting hit with this?
Yeah, I was a little confused by it, in all honesty, and not confused because I do think it's clear the Jazz are trying to lose games to improve their draft pick. Like, that's not a secret to anybody. That's obviously what's happening. But honestly, the NBA treating the Jazz's loss to the Orlando Magic the same way they treated a win over Miami is bizarre to me. And look, tanking is the definition of one thing. It's losing games, right? To tank, you have to lose. So for the Jazz to get hit with a fine that's similar or identical for a game that they won, even if, yes, they weren't playing their starting players at the end of the game or in the fourth quarter, but they win, to be deemed the same as losing, I guess it kind of says to me that the NBA is no longer really worried about winning and losing. They're worried about who's on the court. And I think that's a totally different conversation, and that kind of turns the NBA from competition to a TV show.
You know, Ben, you cover this sport really well, that things don't happen randomly. Like, the league is very calculated. The commissioner is very calculated. Media companies do things for a reason. Why are the Jazz being targeted when multiple teams right now in the league are doing this, and multiple teams have done this in the past, and multiple teams have done it successfully? Why now? Why the Utah Jazz?
Yeah, it's really funny that there's been this contingent of ESPN personalities that have gone after the Jazz, because it's not like the Jazz are playing on ESPN. You know, this is not harming ESPN's ratings in the slightest. Nobody cares if the Jazz sit players for the most part because they're not going to be on national TV. But the person who should care is probably the Oklahoma City Thunder, and it does seem like that might be who's looking at what the Jazz are doing and wanting the NBA to enforce the rules to make sure that the Jazz don't tank enough games to guarantee that they hold on to their draft pick and Oklahoma City doesn't have a chance at it. And, you know, this is something Oklahoma City dealt with last year as well. You know, they needed the first-round pick of the Philadelphia 76ers to fall outside of the top 6. And if it was 7 through wherever in the first round, it would have gone to OKC. But the 76ers were able to tank late in the season and hold on to it, and they held onto their pick. And the OKC Thunder missed out on that one. I believe it was the Thunder who missed out on the pick. I'm almost positive it was. And now they're going through it again with the Jazz here. So I'm sure after making a couple of trades to get these high-value lottery-protected picks, they're frustrated that they might not see either of them when that's kind of how they built this championship team and been able to maintain it.
I mean, obviously, people are looking and they see the hypocrisy, I think, across the board too, and they go, look, all these other teams are doing it. But what I think the league has a lot of power to be able to try to fix some of these things. And so do you think there are actual discussions? Obviously, we won't know exactly, but what kind of things could they do to actually fix this? Because the Jazz certainly don't want to be in this position either. This front office doesn't love what this looks like. This fan base doesn't know, has had to deal with something totally different over the past few years with this team, and it doesn't feel good. And yet the promise of turning it around has to do with this very thing. But how does the league fix this?
Well, honestly, I mean, the problem is that tanking works. I mean, that's just flat out the biggest issue, is that getting good players at the top of the draft is the best way to improve your team quickly. And I don't have to go through the list of names of it. It's obvious. You get a good player at the top of the draft, your team is good for a very long time, and that's the value there. So you probably have to get rid of the lottery, or at least the lottery as it's currently formatted. And maybe the simplest solution is the easiest, and that's just to say, well, every team, all 30, playoff teams included, have the same 3% chance of winning the lottery. And you just do 1 through 30 in that order is picked by the lottery. It's not just the top 4. It's all 30 teams. And at that point, what incentive does anyone have to lose games? You might as well try to win. Now, the problem is that the bad teams, if they don't get a high pick randomly with that 3% chance, aren't going to improve, and they're going to have a harder time building year after year after year. And the NBA would face backlash if the Boston Celtics win a title in 2024 or whatever it is, and then win the top 3 pick. I mean, it's the rich getting richer. But if you want truly fair, and that's how you want the lottery to look, or you want the draft to look, that's the easiest way to do it, and it will stop teams from tanking because there's truly no incentive at that point.
It's not just the tanking that I think irked people with the Jazz. It's how they were doing it, which is smart, but sitting out players in the fourth quarter, star players, and having a lead and then blowing the lead on purpose. How much does the betting aspect have to do with this as well? And ESPN and the NBA also being in bed with some of these betting companies, is that playing a role in some of the backlash?
I don't know how it wouldn't. And I don't know so much if it's behind the scenes of, there's somebody who owns a casino or a sports book somewhere that is reaching out to the NBA and saying, hey, we're losing all this money because people are betting on unders, and then Lauri Markkanen doesn't play the fourth quarter, and so all these teams are hitting their unders and we're losing money. But I do think, you guys are on Twitter. You've also heard athletes talk. Will Hardy will tell us that he has somebody yell at him about gambling every single game since he's been the head coach. The players get DMs every day.
Yeah, everything's brought to you by DraftKings.
Yeah, everything is right. It's just you can't get away from it. If you search you Twitter search a player's name at any point, the only thing you see throughout a game is the gamblers who are mad that they need to grab another rebound or dish out another assist or need to get back on the court. So I don't think it's necessarily like one person behind the scenes who runs a sports book is saying, oh, this is a problem for my gambling. I think it's just the overall noise over and over and over, this campaign of fans that are gamblers or sports bettors that just never stop, and that's taken over the entire conversation, the entire narrative, that probably weighs on people more than, yes, whoever it is that owns the casino that's mad about it.
The tank talk is getting to be a lot. Let's just talk about some basketball for a minute, because this team, like I said, obviously the All-Star break is not the halfway point of the season, but it does represent kind of that marker of teams turning corners and things start to look very different in the post All-Star weekend world. And so let's talk a little bit about what this team has done so far, and then what the rest of the season really will look like when it comes down to it, because it's going to be, I don't know if it's going to be tricky because they're going to be minding their P's and Q's, or I don't know how that looks. But from a basketball standpoint, what do you expect out of Will Hardy, this roster, and this young team now who's going to have a lot of opportunities with a lot of their guys not going to be playing a lot of basketball in the second part of the season here?
Yeah, I think you're going to see a real emphasis on the youth movement again. Remember, the only player now, because Jaren Jackson Jr. is undergoing surgery, if the Jazz need to keep him out for the rest of the year, they will, meaning they only have one player who actually fits the requirements for the player participation policy. That means they've been an all-star in the last several years, and they have to play games on the road. They don't have to play games at home. The NBA doesn't say that you have to play, or, guys, regardless. The Jazz can rest Lauri Markkanen in the rest of the year, every game in Salt Lake City if they want to. And after what happened, getting fined, if I were the Jazz, I would do it. I would say, fine, we're going to play by your rules to a T, and we're going to do exactly what you want, but you're not going to see Lauri Markkanen in Salt Lake City for another game because it does behoove the Jazz so much to hold on to their pick. So that hurts Jazz fans. There's no question about it. If you're a season ticket holder or you're a fan who was waiting to go to a game later in the season and you don't see Lauri in Salt Lake City, that would be difficult. But that's kind of what I'm expecting to see at this point. So it's going to be a lot of the young players. Now, the good news is, as we saw in Miami, young players can win games. The young players are pretty fun to watch. So you've got Ace Bailey and you've got Bryce Sensabaugh, and Isaiah Collier, I think, has really turned a corner. But I've kind of said this a few times. It's kind of the Hunger Games right now.
Yeah.
You look at next year's rotation, the top 5 is set. I mean, if Walker Kessler comes back, which is the full expectation, it's going to be Keontae George, Ace Bailey, Lauri Markkanen, and Jaren Jackson Jr. and Walker Kessler. Coming off the bench, it's going to be Isaiah Collier. It's probably going to be whoever they get with this top 8 draft pick. That's 2 of the spots. There's only 3 more spots open, and it's going to go to a veteran, probably like Vince Williams or Svi Mikhailiuk, who are both under contract next year on very low deals. I'd expect the Jazz to bring them back, meaning there might be 1 spot or 2 spots. So Cody Williams, Bryce Sensabaugh, Kyle Filipowski, you guys have now 27 games to prove that you should be a part of the future, and that's kind of the thing I'm watching.
We got to see Jaren Jackson Jr. in 3 games in a Jazz uniform before he was shut down with the knee tumor. What did we learn in those 3 games?
I think some of it is going to be hard to actually parse out once the games matter, because the Jazz ran into some teams during the dog days of the NBA, which is that last week leading up to the All-Star game. Teams didn't really know how to prepare for the Jazz, so they weren't scouted particularly well. And then again, we only saw them for 3 quarters in all 3 games because the Jazz also didn't have to play their starters against the Kings because that game was such a blowout. So I think some of the defensive numbers that looked so good were probably inflated. I think the energy that all the players were playing with is not going to be there every night, especially over 82 games. But everybody was exuberant about not having to, continue this kind of downward tumble. They see the light at the end of the tunnel. So I just think there's some natural exuberance that's coming through on the court. So what we actually see next year will look different than that. But what I was surprised at is that I think immediately Jaren Jackson Jr. stepped in and was the Jazz's best player. Mm-hmm. And I think that is pretty revealing. As good as Lauri has been, as good as Keontae George has been this year, you see all the ways that Jaren Jackson Jr. can impact the game on both sides of the ball, as easy as it is for him to score, and maybe as refreshed as he looked, potentially being out of Memphis. And that's not to drag Memphis. I've never lived there, but I've seen how that team operates, and I'm sure all the headaches with Ja Morant and some of the ownership issues they've had over the years probably weighs on you as a player. So to come to Salt Lake City, where you've got a bunch of guys who are anxious to start winning, you have a very unselfish roster just as far as who gets to steal the spotlight. There might not be a more introverted and not negative player, not a prima donna, but just a kind of a reserved superstar or near superstar in the NBA than Lauri Markkanen. So Jaren's going to be able to get as much spotlight as he wants. The Jazz will welcome it. The Jazz will give it to him. Lauri Markkanen will gladly give it to him, I think. And I think it's going to be a spot where the Jazz build around him, where I think in the past he's kind of been the piece used to build around other stars.
When you see the rest of these guys, like you said, the Hunger Games and the idea of trying to, basically putting a tryout together and figuring this thing out, you're putting together a roster and you see these guys like your Bryce Sensabaughs, like your Kyle Filipowskis, who are on that list of guys who are trying to make that move to be a significant role player in whatever this team looks like going forward. How would you assess those guys? Because they seem like they are growing up before our very eyes, especially Flip. I think he's I think he got pushed around a lot. I think he still gets kind of pushed around a lot, but at the same time, like he's developed into quite a nice player. And which ones of these guys you look at and you go, I'd love to see them still on this roster, whatever that group of 15 that looks like sitting on the bench going forward beginning next year?
Yeah, it's difficult because when the Jazz were drafting Bryce Sensabaugh and Kyle Filipowski, as much as they were taking quote-unquote best player available, it's pretty notable that they were drafting offensive players in later in the first rounds of these drafts. And maybe that's just they thought they had the best chance to stick. And I think they make good picks. Bryce and Kyle Filipowski have both shown there's a real pathway for them to become NBA players. Same could be said for Isaiah Collier. So the difficulty is now what I think the Jazz were looking for, which was, hey, can one of these guys turn into a star? Can one of these guys turn into a major offensive piece? I think that conversation's totally changed. And now you look around the NBA, and it's not because the NBA changed, but because what the Jazz need from them has changed. the Jazz need two-way players. I mean, the Jazz really badly need guys who are going to come on the court and support the offensive players. And Jaren Jackson Jr. plays both sides of the floor, and that's excellent. But Lowry is mostly an offensive player. Keontae George is mostly an offensive player. And they've both got to get better defensively if the Jazz ever want to win a championship. But you're going to have guys who come in that don't replicate some of their flaws, which is on the defensive end. So you're going to need two-way players. So, I look at Bryce and his ability to score the ball, and I just think that's going to be redundant on what the Jazz have. And not that shooting doesn't always matter and spacing around those guys doesn't help. But the same can be said for Kyle Filipowski. Like, offense is great, but the Jazz have offense in their front court. What can you do defensively? And that might be where, weirdly, coming up from the back is Cody Williams surprising everybody and maybe becoming somewhat integral on the roster off the bench because he's got great length. He's always getting deflections. He blocks a lot of shots suddenly, and he's really kind of only figuring it out now. If he continues his current trajectory of improvement, like, there's a chance he is the more valuable ninth man, even if he's not necessarily like the most skilled player. Because sometimes you need to have guys who really lean into roles, and that role might be how much can you do on both ends of the floor.
After initially being snubbed, Ace Bailey will participate tonight in the Rising Stars game as an injury replacement. Why is that important for Ace Bailey in his career?
I think it helps to be around the other guys. Now, I will tell you, getting to know Ace a little bit, and it's still very early in his career, but I'm not sure he's as accolade-driven as I would have thought, considering the narrative before he went to Rutgers, the fact that he chose Rutgers over a program that, had a chance to win more games, and he had offers from every school in the country. So you kind of wondered, like, is he going to be more of a me-first guy? Is this a Bradley Beal in Washington situation who just wants to make the most money, kind of disappear, but get to make all-star games and never have to win? And I think he's totally the opposite. Like, I think he really does care about winning. I think he makes the right play a lot. But you can get punished for that as a young player. You can get punished for wanting to do the right things and not necessarily saying, hey, why am I not taking 18 shots a game? Why am I not taking 20 shots a game? And I asked Will Hardy if he felt, not responsible, but any ownership, I guess, of Ace Bailey not getting into that first vote for the Rising Stars Challenge. And Will just straight up told me, he said, if we wanted to get Ace in the All-Star or in the Rising Stars Challenge, we would have let him shoot 20 times a game, but that's not what we care about. That's not what we want. And I haven't heard a peep from Ace Bailey criticizing that or complaining about it or putting his head down or shrugging when he misses shots or doesn't get shots. So I think the fact that he is playing the right way and is also now getting the recognition of being at the Rising Stars Challenge, and I do think you're going to see some of his skills that he doesn't get to show on a nightly basis because this is more of an exhibition than what you see on a nightly basis with the Jazz. I do think you'll see some of those things. So I think he's actually getting the best of both worlds, which is being held to a standard to win games and now also getting able to play and get the recognition with his peers.
The All-Star weekend is, unless it's right here, sometimes it loses some of that shine. I think is the NBA All-Star weekend like ever in danger of kind of getting to the point where it becomes kind of an embarrassing this ordeal that the NFL has started to get into, the Pro Bowl, which doesn't mean anything? Is it ever going to get to that point, or is there a way for them to try to get a little bit more creative? I know they've tried so many dang things, but what is the future of the All-Star game? And then with all these big names that are these are a lot of awesome names that are on both of these rosters in the East and West, but the game feels like it loses its luster more and more every year.
Yeah, and it's going to be worse this year. This round robin 4-team or 3-team, 2 American, 1 international roster is it's going to be silly. And if they wanted to just do 12 international players versus 12 American players, I think that would have worked better. But splitting it up into 3 teams and having this competition is just it's such a miss in my opinion. And look, we'll see. I'll be open-minded about it and see what it actually looks like on Sunday night. But the NBA All-Star game, the myth is that it was ever good. And we can go back to the 90s and you can find the game here in Salt Lake City and be like, wow, I really remember that game. Do you remember the other games? Do you remember where it was the year before that or the year after that? Do you remember that there were 150 to 110 scores in the 90s? Like, that did happen too. But our nostalgia allows us to remember either it was in my city or my favorite player was in the game or the one game I remember was really great. And then you say it was great and you build it up and you enjoy it. And the truth is maybe you only get a good game every 2 or 3 years. I actually think that's exactly what had been happening for the last decade. We were getting a good game once every 3rd year, once every 4th year, but the kid who grew up watching it or it was in his city will remember that forever. And we're trying to make this exhibition, this lasting event year after year that people are going to care about. And it's just like, It never was that. It's never going to be that. Nobody's ever going to care about it that way. And continuing to monkey with it is only making it worse. And this is a running theme now with Adam Silver's NBA. He keeps trying to fix things. He keeps trying to fix things that don't necessarily need to be fixed. They just need to be allowed to pass. And I'm pretty curious why he gets kind of fixated on these issues. And I think some of it is because the narrative is so loud on social media.
Ben will be live tweeting the entire NBA All-Star game this weekend. So go ahead.
Can't wait for every detail of the Rising Stars game.
I don't want to sign you up for that deal. But at the same time, I think we all be watching on a little bit and go, I wonder if they can get to 200 in these games, or if maybe the matchups do end up being more fun than we might think. I'm looking forward to it. But Ben, thanks for dipping in on this whole thing, and thanks for always helping us out and getting us through this season with the Utah Jazz and trying to figure all this out, man.
Anytime, guys.
There you go, Ben Anderson.
Some programming notes for you if you are interested in the NBA All-Star Weekend competitions.
On KSL 5 television.
Yes. So the Rising Stars game tonight is at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. You can watch it on Peacock. That is streaming on Peacock. But this weekend, this is going to be a little different because you're used to watching it in the evening. NBA All-Star Weekend Saturday night is actually at 3 p.m. Mountain Time. I think that has a lot to do with the Olympics on KSL. And then the NBA All-Star Game itself is 3 p.m. on Sunday. So if you're looking for it in the evenings, Saturday and Sunday, you're going to be very disappointed. It's at 3 p.m. Saturday and 3 p.m. Sunday on KSL 5.
Okay, there you go. I mean, I didn't want to dog, the NBC coverage of this.
You're a company guy.
I'll toe the line, man. I'll be the guy. You know, I'll be there for you. So there you go. Plus, you know what?
That's
KSL,
sandwiched in the Olympic sandwich, the All-Star competition.
And KSL Sports Live, of course, gonna have lots. I'll tell you what you do get.
6 o'clock Saturday. I'll be there.
I'll tell you what you do get on these All-Star weekends.
No days off.
Yeah. I'll tell you what you do get on this All-Star weekend. Highlights you will not lack. There'll be some lowlights too. There you go. Was that supposed to be a lob?
A lot of dunks and 40-foot shots. Yeah.
A lot of guys in their 40s. Well, one guy in his 40s. Kind of loafing it down the court. Remember when, it's turned into this too. Guys will be like throwing up alley-oops and the other guy's not watching, and you just see balls float through the air.
Yeah.
And you go, okay.
Oops.
Fine. I'm sure they'll get that one back. It's okay. All right. Let's take another break here. We'll come back when we return. Tons to go on the program on a Friday. We're getting you through this whole thing. We've got a NFL power rankings now that the season's over. Might be surprised on some of these teams where they ended up. This is the final ranking of this season, by the way. It's not just as easy as saying, well, Seahawks 1, Pats 2. Or is it? Stay here, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All the latest news and notes from the league and the locals in the NFL. JJ and Alex bring you the NFL Blitz on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome back, everybody. JJ and Alex, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. Of course, you know what that music means. Some NFL talk. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we're less than a week removed from the Super Bowl, but we still have thoughts. And we can talk about where your team is going to finish next year. We'll be happy to tell you where your team's going to finish next year. Okay? The KSL Sports Zone and Beehive Meals are honoring people that impact the youth sports in your communities. Nominate a youth sports volunteer in your neck of the woods for the Beehive Meals Hero of the Week at kslsports.com/contests. Listen every Thursday. JJ and I read those winners off, and Beehive Meals pitches in $250 for them to spend with them, and we put you all over the socials, and it's awesome to be able to honor those people who do a great job in our community as youth sports volunteers. It's the Beehive Meals Hero of the Week. I saw this, and I thought, well, that's funny. A power rankings for the end of the year. Now, power rankings are subjective, of course, in the NFL, but I think that some people may feel the same way as to where this thing landed. It's not as easy, JJ, as just saying, yeah, the Seahawks are the number one team in the NFL. They won the Super Bowl, and so they deserve that. However, not many people feel like that the Patriots were the number 2 team in the NFL this year at the end of everything. This is the final power ranking. So without even revealing what those are, is it appropriate to say that the Pats aren't the number 2 team in the league? They're not the number 3 team according to this power ranking. They're not even the number 4 team in the power ranking.
Now, I'm not going to be a homer here.
Uh-oh.
But I'm going to make a valid point. If Bo Nix is healthy and the second half snowstorm doesn't happen, who goes to the Super Bowl? Broncos or Patriots?
And if my grandma had the wheel, she'd be a bike.
10-7 game, right? 10-7 game. So how do you put the Patriots ahead of the Broncos in a power poll, knowing that Bo Nix will be back healthy next year?
I love me go straight. Hey, this is between Annapolis and I. You can hang out for just 1 second here.
Sure,
David.
I'll take a break.
Don't you love how
I'll be back in 15 minutes.
he went straight to the Broncos? Like, I wouldn't even settle down, man. I'm just gonna take a minute for me on the power poll to get to your
Well, then
Broncos,
why don't you
guy.
go? Oh yeah, why don't you go ahead and say where the Broncos are in this power poll?
All right, fine. It is ahead of the Patriots.
Where is it? Did I write this?
The Seattle Seahawks are number 1.
And deservedly so.
Annapolis' Rams are number 2.
Deservedly so.
I think so too. I mean, it certainly was the best game of that final weekend in the championship weekends.
I think the Rams are the second best team in the NFL this year.
too. And then it goes. Now this one's. I'm trying to wrap my head around this one. I'm just trying to throw this guy a bone who wrote the article. Fine, I'll bite. The Chicago Bears number 3. Now his power rankings are funny because they went from 8 to 3. I don't know. I mean, the thing is and they're behind the Rams.
What happened in the playoffs, though?
They got really close.
It's not like the Rams blew them out of the water.
No. In fact, they had a chance.
I know the game was in Chicago. That helped them. The conditions were harsh.
Yeah, they had a chance.
But that was a good game. And
so Bears
the
at
Bears have a lot of guys coming back.
I don't totally hate it, but fine. It was what it was. But because, listen, the teams that I think were supposed to be toward the top, they just weren't. The Bills.
The Lions fell off. The Vikings fell off a cliff.
The 49ers, we thought were going to be there.
Too many injuries.
The Eagles didn't even finish in the top 10 of the power rankings. The reigning champs.
Yeah,
so
they were disappointing.
That's how it works, right? So Seattle 1, LA 2, the Bears 3, your Broncos at number 4. Now, we should all congratulate the Broncos because we can all get together. It's that meme of, hey, Dylan. It's Arnold and Carl Weathers coming together on this one thing to say, thank you for ending Kansas City's 9-year AFC West reign.
The Wicked Witch is dead.
So there you go. Oh, Parker, get out. Come on. You've had your time.
Get out of the booth and go hang out with Rusty over at
somebody else
FM 100.
Let somebody else have their day.
Go hang out with Rusty.
The Pats ended at 5. I've never seen a Super Bowl winner be less respected in the final polls. They could have put them at 3, and I would have been like, okay, they've got to the Super Bowl. They won the games.
Yeah, but we all saw. We're not dumb.
I mean, the articles I read this week about how Drake May lost this team the Super Bowl and is so far away from being a Super Bowl champion quarterback. Like, it was just the disrespect for the young man who finished second in the AP MVP rating or rankings. Fine. I get it. It's okay. So New England 5, Buffalo 6, the Jags at 7, although they were higher before this one, but I don't know what's Devin Lloyd's future going to look like. I mean, he earned himself.
He's a free agent.
He earned himself
the
quite a bit of
Jags
money.
could have extended him, and they chose not to.
Yeah. He earned himself quite a bit of money here. Did he lead the league in like interceptions for a?
Oh yeah, the first month of the season.
Yeah,
he had 4 and 5 games. I think.
So and then he got injured, right?
He missed 2 or 3, maybe even 4 weeks with an injury. Yes.
All right. The Chargers at 8. The Niners at 9. Appropriate. The Packers at 10. The Eagles at 11. The Kansas City Chiefs at 12. The Houston Texans at 13. The Texans had so much promise. I mean, that was a team were they on a 10-game win streak?
Yes.
Before they went into that one?
Yep.
And just looked awful.
They got to figure out whether or not C.J. Stroud is their.
Now, here's a team who may have missed the window forever because it just keeps getting close. The Detroit Lions are 14th in the power poll. And that's a team who has fallen from grace quite a bit. Speaking of falling from grace, the Baltimore Ravens trying to figure their stuff out. Bad enough of a season that they fire a guy who's going to be in the Ring of Honor probably for them. Do they have one? Every team does, right?
I think every team
But,
does.
yeah, John Harbaugh, he's going to be well remembered in his the history there for the Ravens. The Bengals at 16. Panthers 17, Bucks at 18, the Vikings. Then it's just if you wanted to know where your Cowboys ended, I'm saying your, like, as in people out there, because there are Cowboy fans out there. I don't know if you know that, JJ. 20th. So there you go. Worst of the worst, I'm going to go down to the bottom here because it's just a bunch of middling teams here. Tell me if you agree with this. Worst team in the league, the Arizona Cardinals.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't hate it.
No, Jets.
Okay.
Jets. Jets. Jets.
They have Cardinals.
The Raiders are going to get Fernando Mendoza. I think that's going to help, and I think an offensive-minded quarterback with Mendoza is going to help the Raiders get a little bit of a boost.
Could you imagine a more weird place for Fernando Mendoza? Gosh, can't wait to, like, play hard for you guys. Some guy just drops a big old F-bomb on him the first day, and, hey, it's great to see you. Just a litany of cuss words for the rookie.
Mendoza in Vegas, I don't know. Doesn't seem like a great fit, but we'll see.
Dolphins, like I said, at 31, Jets at 30, Raiders 29, Browns 28. So those are your top 5 worst teams in the final power poll.
Okay. Any issues with this power poll?
Not really.
What did they get wrong?
I think that one that might be. I think he dinged teams like the Ravens and the Eagles maybe a little bit too harshly. I mean, like those are teams that had. I mean, the Ravens had, admittedly. I mean, they didn't make the playoffs, right? I mean, they missed the playoffs, but it's a team that's been dealing with. I mean, they have a superstar quarterback who's hurt, right?
Yeah.
And he's going to continue. He's a multi-MVP winner. He's going to continue to be good. He hasn't gotten bad. And so I think that that's a team that you look at and you go, okay, 14, 15, that's a lot, So, anyway. Did you think somebody missed on this? Did you think
I
they
think
missed
the
on a
Bills
couple?
are too high.
The Bills at 6?
I put the
too high?
Jags, Chargers, 49ers, Packers, Eagles, and Texans ahead of the Bills because I think that the Bills have some personnel question marks.
Bad defense.
They came up short again. New head coach. I mean, is Joe Brady right out of the gate going to be a better coach than Sean McDermott? I have my doubts.
They were close to beating your Broncos, though, at home.
Yes, but they turned the ball over 6 times in the most important game in their franchise's history.
Wild.
This was their year. The Bills were supposed to win the Super Bowl this year.
Do they go backward next year?
With the Chiefs out.
Do they go back?
I think they could.
You think so? Oh.
I do.
Oof. Terrible.
I have an idea for Tuesday's show. I'm going to share it right now. We went through this power poll. On Tuesday, I want to go through this year's playoff bracket, and we'll decide which teams won't be back next year.
Oh, you know what? I like it. Because there's some.
We don't have time now.
Absolutely, there's some on there. Okay. We'll take a break. We'll come back, and when we do return, we've got a top 10. I've got a top 10 for you, so stay right here with us, and we will break down a top 10 list. Not for the ages, but it's a fun one. So stay here, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Home for the best coverage of the Jazz, Utes, and Cougars is right here on the Zone. This is JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, everybody, welcome back. JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. We appreciate you joining the program here. Monday, we're going to be celebrating President's Day as a station. So respect our celebration, please. And you know what? Just go out and do your own. I mean, because it's one of those things that I think that we should all enjoy a President's Day, okay? And buy a washer and dryer set.
or a big screen TV.
Hey. It's not just for Super Bowl weekend, okay? Those deals are to be had. And if you really love your spouse, you get them a new TV, all right? So I wanted to go through, and I wanted to see some of the. I did the top Olympic sports, or the top Winter Olympic sports by TV ratings, and this one we're gonna go to the other direction because everybody was like, "Oh, come on! Like those people don't even watch those." So I've got now in front of me the most watched summer games by their TV ratings, and so I want you to get them as close to an order as you can. Okay.
So all-time TV ratings for the Summer
TV
Olympics?
ratings, Summer Olympics. The Summer Olympics edition. Because I was wondering too, and you could probably say this too, but like the Summer Olympics must be watched a lot more heavily than the Winter Olympics. Even though we love the Winter Olympics, and I've got my TV is on the Olympics all the time during this thing.
More
Kids
countries participate, more athletes participate in the Summer Games.
Yeah, so it's a lot. Yeah, so it's more. Okay. Top 10 Summer Olympic sports by TV ratings and viewership.
Olympic sports.
Yeah, I mean events, whatever you want.
Events, okay.
Yeah.
Not like 2008 or 2012.
No, and not like
the actual sport itself.
And not just like the 100 meters. No.
Okay.
Like these are kind of overarching.
So I'm trying to pick the top 10 most watched events.
Right.
In the Summer Olympics.
By the sport, basically. Yes. Okay. Napolis is like, oh boy, I don't know if I know any of these. On your mark, get set, go.
Swimming.
Ding.
Olympics.
Olympics. Ding.
Gymnastics is what I meant to say. Gymnastics.
Ding.
Track and field.
Ding.
Volleyball.
Ding.
Basketball.
Ding.
Judo.
Oh
no. Soccer.
Just outside the
soccer.
Ding.
Okay. What else do we got? Oh man, I've already done track and field, swimming, gymnastics, basketball, fencing, table tennis.
Ding.
Got it. What other Summer Olympic events am I missing?
I think you're only missing 2 now.
I'm only missing 2.
No, 3. Sorry,
I need 3 more.
You need 3.
Oh, I got to dig deep here.
6, 7, and 9.
6, 7, and 9. Oh man, what am I missing here? Softball? No. Field hockey? No.
That's a decent guess.
Oh no, I didn't get it. I missed 3.
By the way, this one has watched more than soccer. Football. Diving.
Oh yeah, I've said swimming and I just
you lumped it together.
That's my bad. They are separate.
Greg Louganis.
They are separate.
Greg Louganis was.
Of course.
Firmly a diver, not a swimmer. Do you remember, when I was a kid, I was affected big time by him.
When he hit his head? Yeah.
And then, we kept replaying it. He could have died in that very moment. Like,
sure.
How much that thing was, man. Blood in the water. Terrible. Diving 6. Another one in front of soccer. But soccer, people don't love the Olympic soccer. It's not great. Because it's all, and correct me if I'm wrong, they all have to be 23 and under, right?
All under 23 players.
And nobody likes that.
You do get 1 or 2 that you can call up that are over.
Oh, really? Yeah, it's not, but they're not Messi's not playing. Messi hasn't been able to play in the last 3 Olympics, probably.
No, it's all under 23 guys.
That's weird. Look, just go the full. If you're gonna make it fun, do that.
Yeah.
Just have it be everybody. Rugby.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
And we had some great rugby moments in the last games.
And then finally, this one's fun to watch. I love when they do the underwater camera and they're just kicking the crud out of each other. Water polo.
Water polo. Mm-hmm. So I missed water polo, rugby, shame on me, and
diving.
Diving.
Yeah, you got the others. That was good. It was a good showing.
I did okay.
I thought it was a pretty good showing.
7 out of 10? 70%?
Yeah.
C's get degrees.
So 40% of the viewership go to the big 3.
That makes sense.
Gymnastics, swimming, and track.
I've told you that when I covered the Olympics in Tokyo, I couldn't get access, and COVID had a lot to do with it, but swimming, gymnastics, and track and field, you couldn't get access to because it was very exclusive. I had almost unlimited access to some of the best athletes in the world at the basketball event because nobody was there to cover it.
Well, they're coming off the court and they're all, is it you?
It was me and a guy from New York. We're like, okay, here we go.
Okay. I think I remember you saying that Draymond gave you
Draymond Green gave me a one-on-one. He was awesome.
Yeah.
He was great.
Yeah, well, don't share that too much. I want to still keep the villain role going on. Right?
Yeah, sorry.
Let me keep imagining that. All right?
My bad.
And then, by the way, the other 2 that are the most that have gotten the most, that are growing the most in viewership, surfing is now number 12.
Interesting.
And then rugby shot up the list. It's got a massive following now. And part of that is because
rugby sevens is awesome.
Yes, and it's so much more digestible, right? Not like it's not like the other.
The games last half hour.
It's quick. It's fun to watch, and it's just brutal but athletic. It's all of it. I love the rugby sevens in the Olympics. Okay, We'll come back. We will have a chat here around the corner. Jay Stevens is going to join us, host of Utah Puck Report. Let's talk a little bit of hockey. We'll talk men's hockey, women's hockey in the Olympics, and of course, the folks who are playing from the Utah Mammoth across their nations as well. Jay's going to give us a little bit of insight into the hockey world as the NHL's on break for the Olympics. Stay here, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Accessing. When TV and radio collide.
Love it.
Wow. This is what you get. You're listening to JJ and Alex.
Don't touch that dial.
On 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, everybody, welcome back. JJ and Alex, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. Thanks for being with us on a Friday. We hope you've already kicked off a holiday weekend of some sort. Enjoy some Olympic coverage on KSL 5 television. Enjoy some All-Star Game festivities, also courtesy of KSL 5 TV. I haven't looked at the actual schedule the rest of the couple days here for Team USA on the ice. The women's hockey team, the quarterfinals, dicey there for a minute. It was 1-0 in the first period against Italy. They scored 5 in the second to make it a 6-0 blowout of the host country. So the women's team continuing to show their dominance. I don't know if they've given up a goal yet or not. JJ, have they?
If they did, it's 1.
Yeah, and I want to say,
dominated.
Yeah, I don't know if they've. So let me see here. Team USA on the women's side of things. Bear with me as I try to figure out what these scores looked like. So United States beat Canada 5-0, and that was right before that. And the Team USA also beat Switzerland 5-0. So they've relinquished 0 goals. Finland also 5-0. Are you seeing a pattern here?
Yeah, the women beat Czechia 5-1, so that's that 1 goal.
Oh, they did give up 1.
It was 1 to Czechia.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So,
but they beat Finland 5-0, and Switzerland
5-0, Canada 5-0, and then 6-0 to Italy today. So
insane. That's
added
dominance.
up. It's a pretty dominant performance by the women. The men, of course, yesterday. Getting their first win in the preliminaries as well. Joining us on the program right now, Jay Stevens. He is the host of the Utah Puck Report, and he joins us all the time to talk all things hockey. Let's kick off the hour right here with The Cut and Jay Stevens.
It's time for the biggest story of the day. This is what made the cut with JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Trajan Wealth brings you this portion of the program, TRAJANwealth.com. That's Trajan Wealth for all your trusted local needs in retirement. Jay Stevens joining us on the program. Jay, what's going on, man?
Gentlemen, just glad to be here, ready to talk about some hockey, and just got back from Vegas. Enjoying the weekend early, I guess you could say.
Oh, yeah.
Sweet.
Let me ask you this, Jay. The mustache, of course, is a signature calling card for you. And
Yes.
part of that's the the firefighting background on top of the hockey. I don't know if it's a playoff situation for you. Do you have any bets going on with any of your Canadian friends about Team USA and Canada and shaving the mustache? Is that part of the thing that's on the line here at any point for you?
You know, it hasn't come up yet. It would depend on what my Canadian friends were willing to put on the table. The crazy thing is, I would shave this and I could have it back in like 6 weeks. So
it's if you're looking, you can watch Jay, by the way, live here on our stream, and it is an aggressive mustache right now. It is, but you've got the Team USA hockey hat on as well.
Yes.
First round, they get the W, and it was, you got to get your skates under you for a minute, and it took a little bit for Team USA. Team Canada showed no such, having to ease into it with anything in their first round matchup. They look like the dominant Canadians that they usually are. Thoughts so far on this one, and who are the teams to watch in this thing besides Team USA and Team Canada?
Well, there's been a couple surprises, but we'll start with what was happening with Team USA. And Latvia, for whatever, I don't know how they pull it off every year, but Latvia is always that team that manages to steal a win. It's usually Canada. We've seen that before with them, that especially in the World Juniors, Latvia just has Canada's number for some reason. So, you could say U.S. struggled a little bit or whatever in the first period. Remember, we had 2 goals called back for Team USA, which those weren't. That's the rules. That's how it goes. But yeah, I thought the U.S. kind of showed a little bit of rust at the beginning and then started dominating. Goaltending is going to be awesome for the U.S. And that's a question for Canada because they're really not sure on Jordan Bennington if he's going to really be their number one guy, but they're going to ride him just like the U.S. is going to ride Hellebuck, and two proven goaltenders going forward for both countries. And yeah, Canada's power play looks super dangerous. And, that Macklin Celebrini is just everything everybody's thought he was going to be. And he's already showing that he could be the league MVP this year. And it's just been fun to watch that part, watching Canada just be so dominant. I think the U.S. is going to be also dominant. I think it's like 63% believe Canada is going to win it, and then the rest is that U.S. is going to win it. And you're going to have somebody. Everybody thought Sweden would be the other key, but Sweden took a loss. They lost to Finland, which is that's their rival, and that was a pretty big loss for them. So I thought Sweden would be the sneaky team. Keep an eye on Latvia. See if Czechia can't get something going. That's kind of the other team that should be good NHL wise.
Looking at what the Americans did in that first game against Latvia, I thought it was interesting that you'd expect the big name. You expect Austin Matthews to score a goal, and he did in the third period. Brady Tkachuk got in on the scoring. Tage Thompson's a great player. They get 2 goals from Brock Nelson. What does that say about the depth of this United States hockey team?
Well, it's exactly what they thought it was going to be. And the reason a guy like Brock Nelson is in the lineup and is on the team instead of even having Keller in the lineup or, everybody wanted Jason Roberts from Dallas, is Brock Nelson is a gritty player and he'll go to the front and pay the price. Not that the other guys won't, but he's just got more experience at it. And you saw he was in the right place at the right time and got some blue collar goals. And that's what the U.S. is banking on, is that they're going to be a blue collar team. At times it's going to look pretty. At times it's going to look like the Harlem Globetrotters, which is what a lot of people are comparing the Canadian power play to. You're going to see a lot of those pretty passes, but when it comes right down to it, those gritty games, USA Canada, it's going to be battles in the corner, battles in front of the net, and it's going to be some hardcore fun time hockey, and that's why the team's built this way. And you're going to see scoring from all 4 lines. And I expect we're going to see Keller pretty soon, but all 4 lines are going to be deep. They're always going to have a threat on the ice, and they're also going to have the physicality on the ice.
Jay, when you see these guys who hit the ice, I think everybody was so excited to see Clayton Keller, obviously named to Team USA. And then we see the reality of how competitive the Team USA is, because we saw a healthy scratch from Clayton Keller before. Are we going to see him hit the ice at some point? And why is it that, you make the team and yet at the same time you actually don't necessarily feel like it feels a little bit like the Olympic alternate type of a deal?
Yeah, it's absolutely insane to see a guy of Clayton Keller's pedigree, his history, his talent, to see a guy like that healthy scratched for no other reason than, they just have so much depth. And then you look at the roster and you're like, where would you put him in? Because typically he plays on the right side. So do you want to pull out Jack Hughes or, Tage Thompson? I would like to see them maybe take out JT Miller and see if Clayton can play on the left side. But it's tough for a guy like that that's been an all-star, that's always been the best in the every locker room he's ever been in. He's the best player. And then you come to the Olympics and you just see this, we talk about the spoils of the riches that the U.S. has and that Canada has this year too. It's nice to see the U.S. be so built. This is a product of a lot of hard work and effort on USA Hockey's part to have so much depth. It took 10, 15 years to build this type of roster. And if you look at the kids coming up, you're going to see that USA Hockey is going to be this good for a long time, where you can have a captain of an NHL team healthy scratched into the stands. But I do think we'll see Keller. I think they want to get an idea of what everybody can do on the ice. Tomorrow would be probably the best day as they take on Denmark. I don't see that being much of a challenge. They could get out and almost like have a good scrimmage and see how the other guys can do. Germany on Sunday is going to be a little bit of a challenge for the U.S. I don't think it's going to be much, but I'd expect the U.S. coaching staff will have their roster pretty much finished and figure out who's going to play where on Sunday. That'll give you a good idea of how the rest of the Olympics are going to go.
I know that there's a lot of Americans that are going to be really excited to follow and cheer for this women's hockey team that is just absolutely dominant right now. We talked about it earlier. They've only given up 1 goal so far in this entire tournament. What is it? Where do they rank, and how do you see that playing out with the women's team? Is there anybody outside of Canada that can challenge them in this tournament?
No, there really isn't. And just watching how they just dominated Canada, I don't know if you guys got to see that game. And it's so much fun to see, Utah resident Hillary Knight. I think this is her 4th Olympics. She's just a legend. 4 games played. She's already got 5 points. She's a +4. So which I guess they've only given up 1 goal in 4 games. I think the one was it was Latvia early. And I don't think that one counted. Yeah. So in most of their games that count, they've got a 5-0 shutout, and then today was the 6-0. So it's just watching how dominant that the women are. And again, that just goes back to USA Hockey buying into this 10, 15 years ago, just saying this is how we're going to build. This is how we're going to make our team stronger. We're going to put the time, effort, and money. They've really developed, these small games that they play. I mean, USA Hockey, from the age of 5 to 8 years old, is trying to teach these kids to be Olympic athletes. And they've taken over coaching, and they've tried to give instruction from top to bottom so that every kid is growing up and has the potential, has the opportunity to reach their potential to be an Olympic athlete. So you can see what's going on right now with the U.S. women's hockey, which is what happened with soccer 10 years ago, right? Nobody could touch U.S. soccer before on the women's side. And I think it's going to be a while before anybody catches back up with what USA Hockey's done with women.
Over to the men's side of things, when you talk about Team USA and where that program has gotten, it seems to be in that back and forth conversation between them and Canada all the time. Is it just kind of I don't know how it works out with the preliminary rounds versus the quarterfinals, semifinals. I would imagine that those guys would find themselves matching up at the very least in the semifinals, but I think a finals matchup is one that people are looking forward to. What's the reality as to where Team USA and Team Canada match up at this moment right now in time with the two teams, their setups, and their rosters over in Italy?
I think Canada's got just a little bit of an edge just on the line 1 versus line 1. You've just got some scoring that's going to – I think the physicality on the U.S. side can counter Canada's offense. I think that's what you're going to start seeing is you're going to see the Tkachuk brothers out against Connor McDavid. And give him credit. I was looking at the stat earlier. Connor McDavid, the most points scored by an NHL player in one Olympics coming into this Olympics was by Saku Koivu and Teemu Selanne. They each had 11 throughout the entire Olympics. And in 2 games, Connor McDavid already has 6 points. So granted, they haven't had great competition, but that's how the Olympics have always been. So just seeing what these guys are doing, that line 1's going to be really good. You're going to see U.S. try to match that with physicality, and then the U.S. is going to have to go lines 2 and 3 to get scoring off of. And as I look at Team USA's second line, that's going to be Gensel, Matthews, and Boldy. That's a pretty good second line matchup. I think that's where you're going to see the like you were talking about before. You got scoring you got 2 goals from Brock Nelson on the 4th line. That's the kind of stuff that's going to have to happen for USA to beat Canada. Canada's clearly the favorite. US is right there behind them. This will be, and I think if the 4 nations would have gone a little bit different, if goaltending would have gone a little bit more the US's way, I think coming into the Olympics, everybody would have put the US at the top. But I think that 4 nations thing with Canada winning it and even, matching the physicality that the U.S. put out there, that's what gives them the favorite right now. I think it goes back to the miracle on ice. Everybody thinks somebody's going to win it, and the U.S. is going to come through and prove them wrong.
We're going to enjoy hockey at the Olympics, but at the same time, I think Mammoth fans are having a little bit of a Mammoth and NHL withdrawal. So I wanted to have a little bit of Mammoth talk today because we haven't talked to you since the break happened. And as the break happens, the Mammoth are in that top wildcard spot, 64 points. With 25 games left to go, what do the Mammoth have to do to protect that number 1 wildcard spot? Are they in a good position to do so?
I think they're absolutely in a good position to do so. I think we're going to see Logan Cooley added back to the lineup right after the Olympics, which is huge. You can't underestimate how important he is to Utah right now and Utah's future. But the one thing they need to do to protect the position they have is not act like they're protecting this position. You need to see them go out and play like they played on that last homestand where you were just getting contributions down the line. Everybody was playing at practices. You know, Cole Bagley and I get to go and watch the practice. There's been real intense practices followed by intense laughter and a good time. And I think they're just right at that balance. And I know some parents and some other coaches are going to hate to hear me say this, but when the guys are having fun, they play a lot better. And John Cooper, who's supposed to be the best coach in the NHL, makes sure his team's always having fun. We were seeing that from the Mammoth. We were seeing more fun as they were winning. And, you know, winning is fun, right? But you're seeing more winning. You're seeing more fun. And then every once in a while, if you don't hit that exact mark, the bear comes right back down on you and reminds you that this is serious. Have fun with it. But, you know, every little detail counts from here on out. I think as long as they keep playing that way, as long as the Mammoth have that same mentality as we're not protecting something, we're chasing something else. They don't want to settle and go in that prevent defense like you see in football. You want to just see that aggressive offense, those guys having a good time and scoring a lot of those glorious goals that you're seeing.
I'm sure we'll get more of an idea when they come back from the break what they did during the break, the guys who are on the team, but I would imagine that the practice facilities are filled up quite a bit with these guys. There's not a lot of time that they're taking off. In fact, I think the coach alluded to it. They're not taking time off. They are busting their butts. They're practicing. They'll probably get a day or two here or there, obviously, but this is a team that probably is likely just – I think the break coming at this time is a two-edged sword there because it could be – killing a little bit of momentum. You have to kind of get right back to where you were before. You're going to add Logan Cooley after the break. And so how does this team kind of maintain this while there's a handful of guys from the team that are out at the Olympics and playing for their teams, and then you have the guys here who are still trying to make sure that they're in shape and they're ready to go for the next part of the season.
Yeah, the main thing they're going to do, and I have seen some of the guys, and I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus, but, I follow all of them on Instagram or whatever. Some of them definitely took a minute to hit a beach here and there or take their families to Disneyland. And that's perfect for them, right? They need this little break. It's going to get some of the other guys that are banged up. I mean, you watch how Dursey plays and you watch how many hard hits he takes and delivers. And same with McBain. Those guys play such a physical game. I just like to see them go to the beach for a few days and let all those wounds heal because we need them to keep playing the way they've been playing for the Mammoth. It's fun to watch as a fan. Those guys are so much fun to watch right now. I think that's going to benefit Utah in the long run. I think it benefits, it's hard to say if it's going to benefit one NHL team more than the other. Colorado's got a lot of guys over there in the Olympics. And so hopefully that they stay tired. And even our guys that are over there aren't getting played. Veggie hasn't touched the ice yet. Keller hasn't touched the ice in a game yet. So maybe those guys come back a little more rested and this works out perfectly for the Utah Mammoth. That's what I think is going to happen. You're going to see a healthier Mammoth team return to the ice, and they're going to be fired up and ready to go, and they're enjoying the success that they're having. So let's keep it going.
When the NHL gets back on the ice, the topic is going to be the trade deadline because it's coming up on March 5th. How aggressive should the Mammoth be at this deadline?
Not aggressive at all. And I know a lot of people jump down my throat when I say that on the podcast and when I say it online. This is part of the plan. The plan was to get 7 points better every year, and they've done it every year for the last 4 or 5 years that Bear's been coaching this group. And they're exactly where they said they were going to be. And you can't get antsy and say, hey, I see this guy's available from Vancouver or this guy's available from St. Louis. And, Utah has some real deep ties with St. Louis. But all those trades, I think, would cost too much of what they've taken so long to build. Because, if you're going to go after somebody that's going to take you deeper in the playoffs this year, you're going to have to give up a Ginla or, one of those players that somebody else is going to want for a long time. And I just don't see Utah doing that. I don't see any reason for them to panic and go out and get another player this year. The goal is to get all these guys playoff experience. They're right where they want to be. This is more than halfway through the season. So I know it's easy to get excited and play Game of Thrones and say like, well, if this piece of the dice moves or this piece of the puzzle goes over here. I just think the Mammoth are built perfectly, and we've got all these young kids coming up that are having a hard time. Simashev's having a hard time breaking the lineup. He's a phenomenal player. There's probably 20 other teams in the NHL. He'd be the third pair of D. So I think Utah's right where they want to be. I don't expect very much movement at the trade deadline.
Okay. Jay, real quick before we get out, I did want to ask about Veggie because I know that Czechia got their butts handed to them in the first round, obviously, by Team Canada. And Veggie wasn't the guy. But then the very next morning, they went with I think what would be considered their third goalie because it's a guy who's I don't even know who ended up playing, but I don't know what's Karl Vejmelka's situation at the Olympics and why haven't they put him in yet? My heavens.
Yeah, I was really surprised that they left Dostal in for the entire shellacking that they were getting against Canada. I thought maybe they'd give him some reprieve after it got 5-0. Maybe give Veggie or give the other goalie the third period. I'm forgetting who their other goalie is all of a sudden. But I anticipate that we'll see Veggie. I mean, he's literally in the discussion for the Vezina for being one of the best goalies in the NHL this year for what he's meant to his team. You would think a guy like that would get a game here pretty quick. So the next game for Czechia is on Sunday. They play Switzerland. I suspect you're going to see Veggie play that. It's kind of standard when the NHL guys are there to get all your goalies a game and see who the hot hand is at that time. It'll be hard to tell. I mean, Dostal is a great goaltender, and what he's done for the Ducks, everybody knows and respects. But I just think you're going to see Veggie on Sunday against Switzerland.
He's Jay Stevens, Utah Puck Reports, where you can find his podcast and always get great insights from him. And we're, of course, looking forward to the rest of this Olympic tournament. I think we're all a little bit more in the mood for the rest of the NHL season, though. It's a nice little break, and it is a nice tournament. I mean, you watch all these guys, the talent that's put together, you go, man, this is amazing. But at the same time, we're selfish. We want to see the Mammoth back on the ice, and so can't wait for that. Jay, thanks for hanging out with us on a Friday. Have a good holiday weekend and take her easy, man.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys.
There you go. Jay Stevens. Yeah, I saw Veggie didn't. I was the first game.
Weird, right? I thought it was odd. I mean, he's clearly one of the best in the NHL and best in the world.
Yeah, and it's not like in game one it was like, well, their goalie was just despicable. Like Team Canada was running. At some point, you can't. When Connor McDavid passes like that, it's wild. Like to get into the spot where you go, I'm passing like this. It's easy for me. And not only that, you wait till the last second to make a pass, and then I don't care what goaltender's in the goal. You're going to get 5 or 6 goals scored on you if they're able to move the puck around like Team Canada has so far. And, they're going to be tough to beat. I had the same vibe where I was like, I know Team USA has been in that number 1, number 2 spot most of the way, kind of in the World Hockey rankings. Team Canada still feels like always the team to beat.
Sure.
Not just always the team to beat,
until someone else wins gold. You're absolutely right.
Nobody, it feels actually more like the last year, the Four Nations tournament was awesome. Team USA loses in the final round in the final after beating them in the first go round, but it just feels like Canada's still right there, and Team USA hasn't necessarily improved from that. But we'll see. The Olympics have the Quad King. I've been saying it all day, JJ. By the way, I was looking at this, but Vegas odds had that Ilya Malinin guy.
Yeah.
They had him at a 99% chance to win gold. And
anything is possible.
And he didn't even make the podium. And
the
he
1% one out there. Oof.
And he wasn't even in the top. He was top. He was 8th. He finished 8th.
Brutal.
He fell twice. Just stuff that has never happened to this guy. So, anyway, if you want more hot figure skating talk, we got it coming around the corner here. I'm just kidding. I'm getting away from it. No, I know. We don't need to talk about it. Okay? Our producer's trying to keep us in line here. It's fine. Annapolis, we're fine. We'll be okay. We'll come back. We've got our Jazz Daily next. We've also got more to chat about with our best and worst coming up. So stay here, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
You know what's coming.
Your daily deep dive into everything Utah Jazz. It's time! All season long and even in the off season. It's Jazz Daily with JJ and Alex on your exclusive home of Utah Jazz basketball. 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, everybody, welcome back. Of course, you know what that music means. Let's talk a little bit of Jazz basketball, NBA basketball. Thanks for being with us on the program. Thanks for hanging out with us before your holiday weekend kicks off, wherever you might be. Safe travels down to southern Utah if you're going down there. That goes for my kid, too. He's going to go down and play some golf. And, hey, be good out there, kid.
Should be a great weekend to do it.
Yeah, I think the weather is actually supposed to hold up down. It's one of those weekends where you're like, ooh, it's a little nasty here. Might be nice down in southern Utah. So, but it's always one of those where you're going, hey, relax a little bit. You know what I mean? We don't all need to get there immediately. And it's one of those weekends that's admittedly not fun a lot of times when you're on the road and, you know, you're in Panguitch and you're like, why are we down to 25 miles an hour here? You know?
Yeah.
A lot of people making that trip down there, so just be careful out there, y'all. When do the 100 Deadliest Days kick off? I mean, I'm not trying to go dark here, but Memorial Day weekend, right?
I think
We're not
so,
there
yeah.
yet, but
yeah. By the way, 65 and sunny on Saturday in St. George.
Nice.
65, a little overcast on Sunday. Better beat that rain coming on Monday.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But perfect golf weather.
It should be. And, yeah, but like we said, make sure you take care of yourselves out there. I was, before we get into the Jazz, I was looking at just how, like, All-Star Weekend, I'll remind you what the rosters are. So Kawhi did end up making the team. He was the replacement for the injured SGA, I think, on the list. Anybody else end up sneaking in on the last part of the lineup there? I know we had our own Ace Bailey getting named there, but were there any other surprises on the rosters for?
De'Aaron Fox just snuck in.
Ooh, look at that!
A replacement for Giannis. And that you thought maybe that was a spot where Lauri Markkanen could have got a shot, but that's not how it worked. Alperen Şengün replaced Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Oh.
Brandon Ingram is replacing Steph Curry. And you did mention...
Wait, who'd Kawhi get
I think he was just added...
Just as sorry, we forgot.
Basically, yeah. Let me look into that.
I don't really know what the actual... Will you explain to me what the actual All-Star game setup is now?
He was a special selection to fulfill roster requirements for the new U.S. versus World format. That's why.
How does that work? How is it going to work?
There's going to be 3 teams.
3 or 4? Okay, 2 international teams and 1 American?
2 U.S. teams, 1 international.
Okay.
So you have 24 players, 8 players for each team.
Ooh, SGA, that's a tough miss for the international guys.
A big loss, yeah. So they had to replace him with Şengün, who's a great player, by the way, and very deserving All-Star.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that was a spot that would have went to Lowry, but they had Şengün higher on the list, and I get it. Şengün played more games.
The format for me seems like it's not necessarily going to work.
I get what they're doing, and I think it was inspired by watching the success of 4 Nations with the NHL last year. I mean, that was a phenomenon for 2 weeks, right?
Yeah,
it was crazy to see the interest that generated in the sport of hockey for that 2-week period.
I think you get this miniature, if you can build in some version of, because allegiances start to get switched up, obviously, and I think that if you're looking at this and you go, okay, we won't really know. Maybe if the players show up for this one and they go, oh no, we're gonna have some we're having some USA pride here, man, or the other team's going, we're gonna show you that we're the best, because the international roster might actually be more impressive than the.
You want me to read it off?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so this is the international. This is Team World.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I mentioned Giannis and Shai are out.
Got it.
We have Denny Avdia, who's been a great story with the Portland Trailblazers, Luka Doncic, Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray, Alperen Şengün, Pascal Siakam, Karl Anthony Towns, Victor Wembanyama, and Norman Powell. That's going to be a really good team. Victor Wembanyama, if he tries, I think let's just assume for the rest of the segment that I'm talking about if they try and give it their best. Doncic, Jokic, and Wembanyama on the same team. Woo, boy.
What? Okay, let me ask you this. What's the okay, help me out with Cat, because I think isn't he a New Jersey native? Oh no, didn't he play for the Dominican Republic national team because his mom is
correct?
Okay, so he's technically got dual citizenship because mom was a Dominican national, and so
correct.
Okay.
Yep, he's representing the Dominican Republic.
I know he's American born,
but he was born in New Jersey. Okay. Yes, I think Donovan Mitchell. He has a grandparent, I believe, who's Panamanian, and he was willing to be considered for the Team World as because he has Panamanian.
No, just relatives. We already all know that,
right?
looks very Panamanian, whatever that means. No, he's just, I mean, come on. Of course, I knew of his deep Panamanian
whatever
heritage.
we have to do here to get these rosters to work is essentially what's happening.
Give me a good game. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Have guys
make this interesting.
18% more interested in playing hard, and then I'll be excited about it. The Jazz, of course. Ryan Smith told Bobby Marks maybe my favorite thing that was said during this entire exchange. He says, "Look, taking fines is like paying the luxury tax in the prior CBA." That's what Bobby Marks said of ESPN. And he said, if it gives you a competitive advantage, or in this case, a chance to draft and keep an impact player, billionaire owners will pay the fine. Now, if we're taking away roster resources, that's a different story. My favorite was Ryan Smith's immediate reaction to that, which was a reply tweet for everybody to see. Hey, Bobby, maybe sit this one out. You have no clue what paying this is like, and your amnesia this week is comical. I do think it's funny. I mean, I think that you commenting on what it's like for us billionaires to pay $500,000, like, you probably should not comment on that, because this whole you know what these billionaire owners are like. They're not real humans. Like, that's kind of the vibe that he gave off with the comment, right? And that's why he's like, hey, just sit this one out. You have no clue what it takes to pay a $500,000 fine. It's not fun cutting that check.
I think Ryan Smith had enough of Bobby Marks this week, and I don't blame him. Bobby Marks, the amnesia he's referring to is a number of things, but specifically, how about this? The Toronto Raptors last year, at this time, 1 year ago, regularly rested their all-star Scotty Barnes late in close games, helping them to lose games and improve their draft odds. And yes, they were in the lottery.
Yeah.
So, was there any talk about what the Toronto Raptors did last year? Very similar thing. Not a peep, not a word. Nobody said anything. Yeah, that was a Cooper Flag draft. There was a lot of tanking going on last year.
It was a strange moment.
Jazz included.
It was a strange moment this week where Utah suddenly became the outrage bait that everybody needed. Napolis, you put the headset on like you were gonna. Oh, okay.
Oh.
He took your.
No, I want to hear your take.
He took your answer.
No, it was just the old tweets from Bobby Marks resurfacing about justifying youth movement and youth development.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, thanks for bringing that up.
Maybe sit this one out. It's one of my favorite things you can say. Hey, go ahead and maybe sit this one out.
You greased the wheels for some of these teams last year, and now you're taking a shot at the Jazz for doing the same exact thing.
I just hate the idea of
Speaking of integrity.
Yeah, I hate that. And Bobby Marks got the most pub this week that he's probably ever gotten. Am I wrong?
Too much,
in his entire career.
Yeah.
So, yeah, go ahead and sit this one out. It's like, go ahead and sit back down, because I'm kind of annoyed by having to. And this is a guy who was in a front office, right? I mean, he was an assistant GM for 6 years in the league for
he
the
understands
freaking Nets.
How this works.
Of course he does. I just
He's
think it's hilarious.
participated in this before.
It's ridiculous. Okay. Let's take a break. We'll come back and we'll put a bow on this hour, and we'll keep you going here. Stay with us. Best and worst next, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Wrapping up the hour with our picks for the best and worst moments on today's show, as JJ and Alex want to hear your best and worst of the day.
All right, everybody, welcome back. JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Alex Kirry, Jeremiah Jensen, thanks for hanging out with us, everybody. Let me see here, JJ. I'm trying to. Okay. So Bad Bunny didn't just have a good week playing in the Super Bowl. Did you see this? Malik Beasley has just signed to play in Puerto Rico for Bad Bunny's basketball team that he owns. That's right, Malik Beasley.
Wait. Bad Bunny owns a basketball team?
Yeah, not Bugs Bunny. Bad Bunny owns a professional basketball team in Puerto Rico called the Santurce Crabbers. Mm-hmm. That's a real one.
Crabbers is kind of a cool mascot. Unique.
Yeah. One of my favorite is
like it.
I think Hermosillo, Mexico has a Naranjeros baseball team. Like the orange, basically the Orangers, like the orange pickers, basically, like the orange, because obviously there's a big orange crop there, and it's just a guy with a giant orange head swinging a baseball bat. It's like the Oriole, like the old school Oriole bird, but just imagine that with a big old orange. It's got and the hair is even the green leaves,
like an orange on a toothpick.
That's what it looks like. So, yeah, Crabbers is pretty good. So, Malik Beasley's going to be the newest Crabber.
Okay. Congratulations, Malik Beasley, former Jazz man.
Yeah. It's all part of the is this the upper JJ, you know this. Is this the upper division of Puerto Rican basketball?
There can't be more than one division, right?
Yeah.
How many pro teams can you have in Puerto Rico?
Nacional. Yeah. Yeah, so it's going to fire up in March. Malik Beasley. We hardly knew you. And you know what? We're not going to miss you for very long. You're going to be playing in Puerto Rico. So there you go. Bob Boney and Malik Beasley. The combo that you didn't know that you needed on a Friday afternoon.
It's crazy how much money he would be making right now for the Detroit Pistons, and instead he's playing for Big Bad Bunny's team in Puerto Rico because of the gambling stuff.
Well, you can do it down there. I would imagine. Just makes it more fun. We'll take you in this league.
It's all-gambling basketball league.
I know.
It reminds me of the steroid Olympics on Saturday Night Live.
They're going to have – dude, I'm not kidding. And I listened to like a Freakonomics
the
podcast
all-drug
this
Olympics.
Week. There's a company that is dead set on having these enhanced games, and they're making it at a resort in Las Vegas, and everything is going to be enhanced weightlifting, enhanced swimming, and enhanced field events or track events.
Enhanced.
And the whole thing is like they're not hiding it. They just want to see what the human can do, the most that a human body can do if we just
under the influence.
If we just totally inject ourselves with synthetics. Okay?
All I can see is Phil Hartman having his arms ripped off while trying to deadlift.
Trying to deadlift. Yeah.
That's what you're going to see in Vegas when this event goes
dead
on.
Freaking serious.
Oh, my gosh.
And the idea was, and every one of these events is going to be, look it up. It's crazy. This company is like pouring tons of money into this. And investors are too, because it's just going to be, just as soon as you thought that Vegas couldn't come up with more insane things to entertain you with, it's going to be at at one of these big resorts. They're building it like purpose built for these games.
We're getting closer and closer to Roman gladiator type stuff.
1,000%. And it's $500,000 for each purse for each one of these big races.
Wow.
So it's like a 100-meter dash in 8.4. Ben Johnson shows up.
Ben Johnson is back.
You guys called?
65-year-old Ben Johnson's finally eligible to race.
He's still around. He's still with us?
Of course he is.
Okay. I just didn't know.
I actually don't know.
I was going to say, hey, let's quick fact check before we get out of here on the air. I want to make sure we go into the weekend not knowing if Ben Johnson's dead or not. I feel like
How much time do I have?
21 seconds.
I mean, Ben Johnson now is not an easy Google search because of the Chicago Bears.
Oh, yeah, of course. Well, you probably look up Canada and syringes.
He is 64 years old. He is still with us.
Okay. All right. Well, bring him back. You know what I mean? I just think it'd be fascinating. And I'll be like, that's disgusting. Where do I find it? Like, we've done everything else to try to entertain people, so why not that?
I guess.
Okay. We'll come back again around the corner here. So just stay right here.
I hope we will.
I know. Come right here dialed in. 97.5 EKSL Sports Zone.